Yeah, so got everything moved and did did the move, get all everything out of the house that I wanted. There's stuff in there that I did want. She's touched it. I don't know what's going on with it. I don't think I want to know about that. There are certain times where things happen to your stuff, and you're just like, "Fuck it, let it go. We'll get another one." And that's kind of what happened to my mattress.
Ooh,
Uh,
yeah.
so I'm just kind of frustrated with that. Sorry that it happened, but uh, I got rid of her, and now all I got to do is just have her sign the goddamn papers. So as much as I don't want to talk about the divorce, we're talking about the divorce, and eventually I'll get to the point where that's no longer a talking point, which I'm looking forward to.
Well,
Uh, Go
it's
ahead.
still fresh and currently happening.
Yeah,
So
and that kind of is the sucky part about it because it's like, damn it, I don't want to have that happen. Oh, you updated a meme channel.
yes, I have,
Oh.
because I find the really weird, the really sadistic ones.
On the 12 days of Christmas, the Midwest gave to me 12 random seasons, 11 unfixed bottles, 10 bottles of ranch, 9 tornado sirens, 8 deer in headlights, 7 you betches, 6 new roundabouts, 5 opie sorries, 4 games of bags, 3 football rights, 2 one finger waves, and a 30-minute doorway goodbye.
Pretty much, it's the Midwest. Yes.
We do it right. I'm just gonna say like Max Liao does a really good vice. I'm trying, but uh, let's. All right, into infinity we go.
I was perfect.
What are you talking about? It's perfect. He's got a cane, beard stubble, a candy Vicodin pill in his hand. This isn't how you make a gingerbread house, Jason. You're just jealous of my genius. I believe you should always reread your favorite books at different stages of your life. The plot never changes, but your perspective does. Uh, uh, yeah, yeah. And don't watch your favorite movies over and over again. 5 years ago, I lost my husband, David. I miss him every day, especially when I think about the cheese fries he ate on the way home and he never told me about. David, and for the love of God, Pamela, I ate one order of cheese fries without you, and I've been dead to you ever since. Sometimes I still feel like he's in the room with me. I can't show this one here. I love her, can't show it. If you know Valkyrie Bren, there you go. If you break in my house and I yell, "Honey, get the Velveeta," just remember that door was locked for your protection. Ah, so true. So this is, I guess, our not our best of 2025. This is our let's get the fuck out of here look 2025. We
That's
don't really
same.
we don't really do best of shows here. We do like, all right, we're out. Fuck it, bye. I'm being
The
I'm
bad
being
part is that the day of is just gonna be like the next day. You really don't notice anything different.
no, and that's the sad thing. Like, you have all this build up, you have all these things going on. There's a ball that drops, people kiss, you listen to bad music, you talk about, man, remember when Dick Clark used to do this party, blah blah blah, and now you look at Ryan Seacrest and you're like, ooh, bad downgrade. Because he's soulless. He's a fucking corporate shill if there ever was a corporate shill. But then after all that, you go to bed. You might wake up hangover with a hangover. You might wake up with just like a pretty or an ugly girl on your shoulder, or not so handsome, or maybe a fat guy. Anyway, um, you wake up and it's like, fuck, I got to pay bills.
That's right. New month.
So, is there anything to celebrate this year?
And a
In,
lot of small little victories, but nothing like that I would go out of my way to say, yay. But it's been fun. I mean, can you count that as anything more than a win? It's like, did you have fun? Yeah, yes, no. Was there some good points? Yeah. Did you make it? Did you not die? Yeah. Okay. Then you won.
I can say I did not die.
All right. The rest is all negotiable.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at on everything in life. Like the rest is negotiable. Fuck it. Like, well, I don't have a bed, or I got rid of a lot of my pots, pans, knives, etc. I'm like, I'll live. What did you keep? My gaming stuff. What? Yeah,
That's
I
all you
spent a lot
need.
of money on my gaming stuff. Fuck everything else. I can always get a bed somewhere. I can get anything I want anywhere. But like trying to find a fourth edition copy, still in the wrap of fucking Twilight Imperium with the fucking the DLC big box. That's hard.
It is.
So I'm pretty okay with everything. Yeah, I'm going to be bitter, but you, what do you expect me to do? Like be fucking doing somersaults and shit? No. Have you watched the Fallout TV show?
I watched the first season. I haven't got around the second one. Been kind of busy and wanting to watch other things, to be brutal honest.
I watched the first episode of the first season. It's kind of okay. I watched most of the second episode. Kind of okay. The third episode, oh, here's that guy that was a cowboy. But he was in the last episode. Yeah, I kind of thought that, but I wasn't quite sure. Now I'm positive. But do you want to go back and watch it again? No, not really. It's not that I don't like it. It's just that let me see if I want to continue watching this or not before I say I'll watch the whole thing over all over again. The only thing I've done that with so far is The Wire.
The thing is that for all the fun that Fallout is, I don't want to watch somebody else's version of Fallout. I have the version of Fallout I played,
Yeah,
and the game that I play, the character I played, and did the things that I did, and thus playing in and watching somebody else with a character that I wouldn't have made in a version of New Vegas that isn't mine. It isn't the world I know. It's in a place that's a little different, and in the end, I was like, "This is." I guess if you're a normie who doesn't play Fallout, this is great because you're like, now you understand what your nerdy friend is talking about, kinda.
kind
But if
of.
you talk to your nerd friend's gonna look at you and go, "Yeah, no, that's not Fallout." I mean, it's Fallout technically, but it's not really Fallout.
No, and that's the thing. I feel the same way about Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Fallout New Vegas. Um, I don't feel like those are real Fallouts. I really loved Fallout Tactics. Nobody else likes Fallout Tactics but Bruce. I
There's a few
thought it was,
people, but
yeah. It's just the fact I played the game when it was a skirmish isometric RPG. And to me, that was a perfect game.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't want to play first person shooter Fallout. I already have that. It's called Stalker.
And you're just wandering around a I mean, there's like I said, there's so many different ways to play it. Like I know some people who played Fallout New Vegas and they did it. You know, everyone has their own version of that story, and with when Hollywood decides to just cash in on it, you're just kind of going, what are you, what are you gonna do? Tell us the official storyline for it? Fuck you. My official storyline is I sided with House and said, or fuck you, fuck you to a lot of things, or I sided with the with the NCR because I wanted the remains of America back, kinda, not really, or maybe I wanted to go with Caesar's Legion one time, even though they're a bunch of retards. It's it's like you can't tell me which version that is the right version. Then again, it's like, hey, we're gonna go do a Fallout in Boston, and it feels dumb. Or wherever you end up taking it, it doesn't feel Hollywood can't do it right. Sure, the nuking was cool. Seeing the power armors was cool. Seeing their take on things is okay, cool. But I'm not going to invest my time in it. I would honestly rather invest my time in, say, better, in a different show, because my TV time is valuable. I have enough things to do that sitting down and watching just like it's not the game series by except for name. And it's like, why do I bother? But it's the same reason for it's like, hey, look at that. Do you like Lord of the Rings? Here's Rings of Power. No, that's garbage. Do you like Game of Thrones? Yeah. But no, don't watch the series. It's garbage. Don't watch its spinoffs. They're garbage. Hey, did you like Wheel of Time? Don't watch the series. It's garbage. Hey, do you like The Witcher? Yeah, cool. Don't watch it. It's garbage. But I guess if you're a lazy normie who doesn't want to read because you're an illiterate fucktard who needs to have your books in visual format because you can't read or you can't even listen to an audiobook, you're just sitting here going, decent enough, I understand story now. And no, you don't. You know nothing. It's good enough for me, yeah, because you're stupid. And at that point, I'm just like, oh, cool. So what is your grasp of Dune? I watched the movies. Which one? The Lynch one? Okay, you've never read it. You don't know what's going on. Lynch is weird. It's a good movie, but it's not Dune. Well, I watched the new ones. Well, that's still not Dune. Well, I watched the Sci-Fi Channel miniseries. Okay, now that one's close up to being interesting. I mean, congratulations, you watched your local theatrical stage play group do Dune, but it was at least entertaining and closer. But you didn't read the books. But at least I can give those more credit than I can give to most of these Amazon and Netflix productions. And it's like HBO, Netflix, and Amazon are just like, we're going to wear your favorite series as a skin suit and then shit all over it.
That's the problem that I have with everything about it. It's just a skin suit.
It is. And the thing is so the reason why I brought up Rings of Power was because my brother over at the Christmas breakfast mentioned it, and then I started going into a 45-minute diatribe about why it was a terrible representation of everything. And his wife kind of went, oh, because she's read the books, but she read the four main books, and she's like, I forgot that there's even annexes in the back of Return of the King. And I'm like, there are. But I guarantee you skipped right past it. And she's like, I did. And I'm like, yeah, because they're boring. And it's a bunch of genealogy charts that you don't really need to know. And in there is a bunch of history points that really aren't important to the main story. She goes, yeah, by the time it was done, I was just kind of done. I'm like, yeah. And then they rewrote an entire new story based on those those annexes in the back. And I'm like, you missed all the storyline that was actually there. And then she's like, my brother and her are like, oh no. My mom, who knows me way too well, she's just going, oh great, you started them. And he's like, and you know it's going to be a good conversation when the conversation starts with, so anyway, the destruction of the two trees and the creation of the Silmarils, blah blah blah, and my mom's like, okay, we're gonna be here for a while. And luckily my brother's kids started a ruckus, so it ended the conversation at 30 minutes. But it was one of those things that was like, now because of how terrible these things have been, we're never going to get a real honest production of these things. I know that one of my favorite books, World War Z, will never be done right because a shitty one was made. I know I'm never going to see Wheel of Time done right in my lifetime.
No.
Because of the shitty Amazon version. We're never going to get, like, well, luckily, we're all going to die. Ian Martin will be dead, so we're never going to see the end of of Game of Thrones. We're never going to get a good Silmarillion story because we got, Rings of Power. So that's completely garbage. We're never going to get, because thanks to Disney and ruining Star Wars, we're never going to get the Thrawn trilogy. So we're never going to get anything good because we got shit. We had a decade of pure shit that took took all of our nerdy things that we loved, shit on them, and now we're never going to see any of this stuff. If we do, we're going to be in our 70s and dying when this stuff gets another crack at being done right. But it's going to be done by our children. We're not going to do it. We're not going to enjoy it. It's going to be our children. It's going to be the kids who are in their teens now who are going to make this stuff, and they might do it right. But by the time they get around to doing it, I'm going to be old. Don't give a fuck anymore. I'm just going to be like, whatever. I'm going to turn on NCIS.
Kid's going to fuck up everything. Look out. Yeah, I feel that. I feel that on my core.
Yeah, and I guarantee you, I'm going to be an old man shitting myself in a diaper watching the 400th rerun of NCIS because it's going to be my new fucking the westerns for our generation. I really like this one. This is the one where Tony likes Ziva, and then they do some hijinks. Yeah, I love this day. Back during the GWAT, everything was better during the GWAT.
Jesus Christ! Did you just say that? Fuck. Oh.
Man,
I don't even. I'm so sorry, my friends in the audience today. We are hitting a low tier milestone, and it's a pleasure to have known you and broadcast you for so many long years. Goddamn, everything is better in a GWAT. No, goddamn it wasn't. I was there, and I can tell you from experience, the GWAT that I remember was a lot of like you're getting feedback from people over in the sandbox. You're being told what to load, what to get ready, what logistics they're gonna need. Then 2 hours before there's the supply supposed to take off, the next thing that happens is that you have to scram the entire inventory and reload pretty much from start to finito again because some dumbass got a hold of things and he was kind of being a wiseacre, or worse yet, the situation has gotten out of hand, and now because you've got some casualties going on somewhere else, gotta take things off and reload different ordnance for a different location.
Oh,
I'm just saying, like, this is what I remember.
oh,
This is,
I,
and I wasn't really even involved heavily with the GWAT. I was just a civvy supply piece of shit for the most part. There was a time when I was part of bullshit overseas, but god damn.
here's
I
the
remember
thing.
I remember GWAT just as like one giant clusterfuck of like, we got 6 inventory lists and 3 planes. What the fuck do you want loaded?
Now, the thing here is that it lasted 2 decades, 20 years of mangle stories.
I didn't last. That was one of the jobs that I got canned on because fucking just, sometimes you piss off an officer or you piss off somebody and he's got a general that, means something somewhere. And it just like, you're tired. You've been at work. You've been yelled at by a guy fucking 5 times in your 12-hour shift. You're supposed to be off work 4 hours ago. And this guy's playing politics with this shit, and every time you turn around, it's all politics. So,
Oh
yeah, as much as I love the military, don't get me wrong, I don't have a lot of room for fucking pomp and circumstance. And you know what rank I am? Go fuck yourself.
The thing here is that we're still close enough to the end of it that it's still fresh in our memories, and it's still kind of crappy. But give it 10, give it a decade. Give it like we're still only what 4 years out from the end of it.
Yeah, it was start of 2021 August when they started flying planes out of Afghanistan.
Yeah, so we're still really now. Give it 20 years, and give it 10 years. I give it another 10 years, and then we're going to get our version of Full Metal Jacket. We're going to get our version of Apocalypse Now being made.
And for you guys that were over there in Sandbox, God bless y'all. You had some excessively stupid fucking leadership in some places, and that was literally nepotism and politics telling you how to live your fucking life.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest problem I had with the military when I was in active duty or attached to it otherwise is just that entire fuck up situation where you just have somebody that basically is a retard and you're waiting for them to get promoted or waiting for them to get like just replaced or deposed or broomed out, and you wake up the next day and they're still there. God damn it.
Yeah. But I know I'm making this sound like shit, but the thing is that movies for an era will get made about 10 to 15 years after it happens.
Well, yeah, Full Metal Jacket was 86, 87, and we beat the Viet Cong, okay? We had them, and they signed the treaty in 72, but yet it still managed to fucking get photographs of us last helicopter out of Hanoi in 74, was it? 75?
Yeah. 75.
I wasn't there. I wasn't around when it was going on. I might be old, but not that fucking old.
No. And the thing here is that these movies were made for our parents.
Yeah.
And they were that generation. We're like, there are people who were in that got their movies that were made during the early part that had their movies made. Well, now we're going to get the tail end of that era, but I can say there are at least 3 cable channels right now that show NCIS on fucking eternal repeat. So if you want to relive the greatest hits of 15 years, the global war of terror, and all the fear mongering that network TV can do, you can just turn on one of 3 channels and you can just watch endlessly. This is going to be our version of Gunsmoke and Maverick. This is going to be our Cowboys and Indians era. where it's going to get mythologized and turned into some. Of course, we're the good guys, and this is the bad guys. Of course, it is true, and it's going to get cleaned up, especially the further away we get, and the further the people who were responsible are either dead or out of power, and you don't need to actually politically shoot them in the head, so you can create, generic. Well, it isn't so and so. This is a stand-in for them because you don't want to say. Was that?
What was the movie that started the actual uncovering of the bullshit that happened in Vietnam? What, according to Kai, what would be the movie that you think pretty much just uncovered it all and started getting America to where like we were acknowledging the shit that was going on over there?
God, I'm not even sure at this point, because I know that when you throw in the two big ones that made it so that way, where it humanized and brought the bullshit from being just simply propaganda. I'm gonna, the two that I've already mentioned, but before that, you had things that were showing the despair of the post mess of it, Stripes and the comedy that was just the doldrums that were slowly taking the air off of things. So I would really still put it to the two big ones of Apocalypse Now and Full Metal Jacket being the two big ones that just went, no, here you go. I'm not going to throw Rambo in there because Rambo was another one of those that was hey, look at the PTSD problem in First Blood. This is the PTSD problem. This is how bad we're treating shit. This is how bad things are as we're going into this. And I know that later on, it's like, but the thing is, look at something like Apocalypse Now and look at how it describes things. Look at how Full Metal Jacket describes things. Now let's go fast forward a couple decades to We Were Soldiers, and look at how the portrayal of everything changed. It went from dirty, dirty realistic to a much more cleaner take on it, and then it's like, suddenly we're trying to change the narrative. We're trying to, it's a different portrayal, different era, different time, different portrayal, and it kind of leans into this idea that I kind of had for a long time of, well, every era has the narrative it's trying to push. We were still in the Vietnam was bad, Vietnam was wrong, it's just a terrible, miserable experience. And that was the 80s, that was the 70s and the 80s. And here we are, grinding our way forward, and the narratives are, how do you want to portray things? And it's like, it's there. I wish I can remember as much as I should, but I'll admit, I'm not as much a movie person as I used to be, because honestly, most movies I don't like I like them, but I don't like them as much as I used to. My desire to want to sit down and watch an emotional narrative. Yes, Sly Marbo is definitely, but no, he's screaming somewhere else in the future. But I just know that I don't want to see what it's going to be what it's going to be like in 30 years, like in 10, 15, 30 years from now, because I had to, it's like getting to go see Saving Private Ryan with my grandpa. He was Air Force. He didn't, he wasn't infantry. He wasn't that, but he was in Europe, D-Day happening. And, he walked out during the landing sequence. He came back later in the movie, but he was like, just come get me when we're past here. But I also got to realize that he saw over his life the narrative and portrayal of the war changed greatly. You had the evolution from movies like Operation Petticoat, or you had the Black Sheep Squadron, or Kelly's Heroes, or all these various Hogan's Heroes. You had the portrayal of the war changing from decade to decade, evolving towards the point where we come back to from noble, heroic, comedic takes, some dirty grindhouse takes on it, and then we end up back at brutal portrayal of what actually happened, because you had to try to teach a generation that never saw anything what it was like, but it was close enough that it made him want to go, I need to go out and I need to go somewhere else. But we saw after there, you still have things like Band of Brothers still coming in, and the Pacific coming around, and Greyhound coming around, but you also had shitty versions like Pearl Harbor by everyone's favorite explosion artist, which was a terrible, terrible movie. And then we had Tora 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 and Midway in the in the past, and then we had Overdrum USS Enterprise the movie, also known as Midway. Yeah. And I want to like that movie because I like the Enterprise. I love CV6. But holy shit, according to that movie, no, Enterprise did everything. Enterprise did fucking everything. Yorktown, no, what's Yorktown? Huh? Wasp? We don't know about that ship. No, it's Enterprise. Enterprise was everywhere, did everything. Also, the Lexington and Saratoga are Yorktown class carriers. Don't ask. I have problems with that movie, but
I've not seen it yet. I need to see it. Should I see it?
Honestly, it's not a bad movie. Is it a great movie? No. Did they overinflate some of the things to make it look really fucking dramatic? Yes. Especially the dive bombing scene on Akagi, where Best is making his dive on Akagi. Holy shit! The flak storm he's flying through when he's going down to make his historic important run on the flagship. Wow! I mean, that would have shot down like God. Like God would have been like, I ain't going through that shit. But somehow he managed to fly through it. It was fucking amazing. Like it looks fucking amazing until you go, no. There's enough. Like Best could have probably gotten out of his plane, picked the bomb up off the bottom of it, and walked on the cloud of flak down to it and just drop it on the carrier with how much it was being shot at him. But that's okay. And there's also problems like that. There is a lot of Pearl Harbor only had two battleship classes, and because we only built we only built the West Virginia, a lot of West Virginias, and then the Arizona. That is the entire fleet. There's also some ships that shouldn't be there. There's also a few extra battleships. Don't ask. You'll only notice them if you're one of those people who like me will pause and freeze frame and count gun barrels, count ship configurations, and go, wait a moment, that ship wasn't there. That should have been that should have been a light cruiser. Why is that a West Virginia class battleship? Why is there ships? No, that ship shouldn't be there. Because it's historical accuracy. I kind of give a shit about that, but that's okay because that's definitely not the 2001 Pearl Harbor movie, which is even more. What the fuck is this?
Wait, that was Roland Emmerich, right?
No, it was Michael Bay's 2001.
Never mind.
Michael Bay's Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
The one where the Japanese Zeros strafe a bunch of a bunch of Perry class frigates. Yeah, it's totally legit here.
For those who don't know this, the Perry class frigs were like early '60s, late '50s.
No,
Oliver Hazard Perry.
Yeah.
Actually, the McCandless was one of those.
Yeah, no, it's a there's an infamous scene in the movie where the Japs strafe and you watch fireworks explode on the bows of three of them. What's that?
No, the McCandless was Knox class frigate. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't even know the ship that I was stationed on. You know what? It's been 30 fucking years. I don't give a shit.
It doesn't matter anymore.
No, it doesn't. It's scrapped. It's a toaster now. It's part of the fucking wrought iron collection at insert Brownsville, Texas ironworks. Go ahead.
I've got a bottle of a Knox sitting out. I sitting in a box waiting to be built.
You got a Knox frigate waiting to be built? Badass.
Yeah. Let me go pull the box out real quick. I do have a Knox class frigate ready to get built.
Okay. So I was on one of those from '93, late '93 to mid '94 when we decommed it in 6 May of '94. Watched it get decommissioned, and then once the Turkish got on board the ship, the crowd was encouraged to leave because then they emptied out all the farm animals from the barge, and I didn't want to see all the sheep and goats shitting all over my home.
Yeah, and she's gonna be a really, really, really tiny model when she's built.
Yeah,
because she's a 1/700th scale model, and it's gonna be sitting next to all my other 1/700 scale models.
Hey, Crafty, if you want, I believe I put the link in the D100 chat. If you want, you don't have to, but it's there.
Oh no.
Nope, I didn't. My bad.
That's okay. I'm gonna go put the Knox back up on the shelf.
I like this meme of putting the razor blades under the handles.
Isn't that a good idea?
That is a great idea. You have shit walking off, put razor blades under the handles. You'll get the DNA of your thief, maybe even a finger.
They'll learn. But yeah, no, I've got I found a Knox and a Perry that I'm going to build so that way I can have them sitting next to each other. But I also have a King George V that I'm going to build down the road. So because someday I just want to have I want to have a shelf full of boats that I could look at all these boats I built. And then how long have you been spending there, sitting here, weathering everything with a pencil? A very long time. But like I said, I have a fleet of these things, and periodically I'll try to track one down and add it to the collection. Because right now I don't. Right now I've got too much D&D and D&D shit to paint, so I don't want to sit and start building boats again. Because I have an Alabama that's in 700 scale waterline that I want to build, but that one I bought I actually bought at the Alabama, so that was fun. I think I was the only one happy. I'm happy in that group that when we went to it. So everyone else is like, "Why do we have to go on the big boat?" And I'm like, "It's a very, very important boat. I like this boat. We're going on the boat now." It also had had the coldest water fountains I've ever had. So you, my friend. No.
They keep. I sorry, I keep thinking about the McCandless and like the fact that we had all those guys hanging out in '94 for like 2 days after we decommed the ship. After we got done on base in Ingleside, uh, I remember a drunk festival that really kicked off hard, and some of the guys were just getting lit the fuck up the whole time, and all we really just endeavored in was just trying to be sideways. And then one moment I woke up and like I go outside the berthing, and there's like three guys piling into a Ford F-350 or Ford F-250, and one of the guys goes off ship, "Hey man, Steven, you take care." And I'm like, "Dude, I thought I told you, if you're a friend of mine, you call me Bruce. People that call me Steven are bill collectors. Fuck those guys." He just laughed. And there was a photo out there somewhere of the four of us. And then shortly after all that, like two of the quartermasters, they got out, started civilian life, and pretty much within 3 months, one of them was killed in a drunk driving incident, and the other one because he got out early, like 17 years in, and he had an early operation possibility of just like, okay, you're going to get, instead of 66%, you're going to get like 61%.
Boo.
He didn't realize like he needed more money than that to live in Louisiana, not too far from Nolans. And I don't know if that's even the right pronunciation there, but I remember hearing that he had committed suicide. I'm like, God damn it, what the fuck is wrong? And it's just some weird stuff, I guess, goes on in people's heads. I don't know everything. I had some dark shit happen in my head, but the thing that I found out worked for me was the fact, like, you got to go hang out with people, you got to get a dog, you have to be outside, you have to walk, you have to do stupid shit. And when you're doing the stupid shit, you're just like, ugh, like, God, I hate this. And then you think about it, like, at least I can get up and walk around. I'm not dead yet. And that was something that I kept coming back to over the last couple minutes. Like, man, the Knox class, that was pretty fun. And then I remember like doing some Google searches on guys that were on a Navy Buddy website. Were like, hey, get in touch with me. Here's my MySpace, and like probably a quarter of them. It's only been like 13 years. A quarter of them, pancreatic cancer or the jab or something happened. But it really just you kind of like get brought back to reality. You're like, oh wow, yeah, this shit's really not forever, is it? You don't want to think about it too long.
No. But in the last year or so, I've watched people who I thought were going to be. I know it's not military, but I mean, I know I'm not as entrenched in it as some people are, but I'm now at almost 3 years working within the company I'm in now, and there's been people who been there for 30 years, and we've been like, oh no, everyone's going to be here until they retire, and then suddenly someone dies, someone goes, fuck it, I'm out, and then suddenly everything that you thought you knew just went right out the fucking window, and people were like, what? And people are moving around jobs, and the whole thing goes right out the fucking window, and I'm like, I thought everyone was going to be here for another 5, 6, 10 years, and everyone's like, nope, everyone died. Fuck.
Yeah. When your boss tells you you're the senior guy,
Yeah.
and you've done less than 2 years at this job, uh, you that's a sign for you to like. You need to go crack open a beer when you get home, and wonder really long and hard why you're still here because this job isn't that great. It doesn't pay that well, and now you're the senior man. Like there are people that used to do this job day in day out for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years and you can't find people to work 5. You can't find people to stay.
Nope.
Where I'm at in Texas right now, I'd say we have probably half the jobs are filled. And those are dropping a little bit because of the, the ICE, the movement to put all the people in repatriation. Like, hey, we know you love what you do, but you got to go do it back where you live, where you're supposed to be. And that kind of sucks. But if you want to be here legally. And that's not a Bruce thing. That's just a real world thing. It's a lot easier for you to stick around here and pay taxes when you don't got an arm of the government looking for you to fling you back on a fucking bus and send your ass home. That's just the truth of it, Too many people don't want to think of it like that. They want to protest things. It's like, your son could have that job being a landscaper. Your nephew would be badass if he just got off his ICQ or Discord or whatever the fuck he's doing nowadays, because I'm not going to try to keep up with tech and try to give a shit. But I'm just going to tell you, like, your kid could be really good at the job we gave somebody else that's not from here. Your kid was born 7 miles from here. Why is he not doing the entry-level job where his mom or dad works for the past 10 or 15 years? Why do the people at that job not know him by face and by first name? Crafting Gamer says, Kai has a vault full of ships. Visitor, how much time did it take you to weather on all that? Kai says, time? What's that? Yeah.
Honestly, with the amount of shit that I paint now, I rapidly ram through as fast as humanly possible to get done. I'm not going for high quality. I'm going to win awards paints. I'm going for it's going to pass. Goddamn, someone's going to look at it at arm's length on a table and go, "It's good enough."
Yeah, that's
where
good.
I'm at now.
That's where I'm at. I'm not trying to do like the fucking 5-headed dragon paint. That's not even a really good paint job. That's just like a 3-star paint job. But for me, that's really good. That's high art because I'm going to put that on camera, and this is going to be 1080p. Hey, Nerdy Ogre, how you doing, buddy?
I mean, right now, this is where I'm at. Like, I'm just trying to get him and about 4 more like him done for Tuesday, so that way I can go and get. Show it off. I'm like, yeah, this is where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get these paints done so like I can throw away these boxes. That's it.
Yeah.
Nerdy, how you been, man? Okay, I'm gonna kill the rest of this joke-ass mead that I started last night. When I say joke-ass mead, I'll explain to you in a second. This is the company that has helped out my benefactors so much. They replaced the furnace for like $11,000, or the AC. Good to see that Nerdy Ogre's alive.
All right. Good for that. So yeah, this is what took me about a week to paint for about 6 of these little assholes.
Say again?
Got a nice little paint job on them. I was happy for them.
All right. So for those of you that like mead, I'm going to show you the mead bottle that used to be the standard. Now it's no longer the standard because this fucker is he's a living meme. This guy is over at fucking Texas Renaissance Festival, Thorns Viking Mead. This guy sells mead over there and he tries to come off as a real deal. You start poking into his life, in particulars, his social medias, and next thing you realize that this guy is not the real deal. He makes a fast batch of mead that's not a true mead. It'll get you drunk mead, but it's not mead. This is not quality product. You know what I mean?
Yep.
His personal life is full on display. He's trying to get the fucking what do you call that? The woke Olympics. I have a girlfriend who's not got a dick. That level of woke. She hadn't had a dick to me. So like the guy is obviously going for points. I'll never buy that mead ever again. Thank you for fixing the AC, Lone Star Comfort Services. All right. If you want good mead, the Allfather mead is pretty good. Fate of the Gods mead, if you like Wildflower mead, pretty good. There's other meads in the area. One on 46 in New Braunfels that they make a good mead. All right. The reason why I'm talking about that is because I haven't had a beer in 2-3 weeks. All right, nerdy. Link is in the D100 Discord, bud. I had pizza last night. I had a whole pizza last night. That's why today, when I was trying to sleep, I woke myself up with the farts. You ever have the sleeping farts, and next thing you know, you're waking up? Oh, we're back on GI talk.
Yes.
And our next segment, we'll talk about what foot creams we like best to keep us more moisturized after 16 hours of keeping our feet trapped in a sock. I like this one here. My foot doesn't crack anymore. I don't have the foot dandruff in my bed sheet and mattress sheet anymore.
God damn it.
Hey, Mongoose, what's going on, crafting?
Not much.
Good to hear you. Good to see you.
When you offered for me to come on, so I had to finish that up first.
Ah, you're good, man. Take your time. We're just chatting, chewing fat, talking about stuff that happened this year. Things that kind of surprised the shit out of me and everybody else.
Yeah. I know I've bitched about it quite a bit, but I don't know. Kaiser heard about it. My dad has turned completely full feminist and has decided that I am a what's the what's the men only, like, I hate women
Machoist?
Yeah, he's basically decided I'm one of them
That's interesting.
because I'm not full feminist like him. I obviously hate women. So that's lovely living next to a man who thinks of me like that. My mother, who is slightly feminist, but of course in her instance, it's less along the lines of she's feminist, as she actually is one of those women who's trying to be a man in a man's world, so she does feel some of that pinch. Unlike my sister, who was a woman who just bitches at women are treated like shit and slides on the women bandwagon. I've gotten my argument with my sister about that shit too. But my sister has the gall to claim at her work women are treated second class to men, even though they make up 90% of the staff, and the manager before her and after her, and of course her, were all women. But no. In that business, they completely discriminate against women. Women are second class in that business. Yeah, you really like. Yeah. Anyway, let's say this. I shouldn't have brought it up. my father, my sister. It's like the only person on this damn property who has any head on the shoulders is myself and my mother. We just look at our family and go, "Good God, what the fuck is wrong with them?"
Wait till you see the family reunion, buddy.
Yeah.
Ogre, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right.
Came on here looking like you just ripped a motorcycle helmet off you, and you were just rubbing your hair and just enjoying the shit out of that paint rub you did.
Well, I'm glad to hear God is complimenting your hair, nerdy.
Thank you. Yeah, that's one thing.
You got the echo back. In Bruce's case, it gives that godly echo you see in movies or hear in movies.
Hang on. Okay.
I was enjoying the echo.
Well, in your case, it's a good echo.
If you want to keep it, I'll...
You're good, sir. Go ahead and put on the headset if you want.
It's up to you. I don't particularly want. I don't really care for the headsets.
Yeah, we have a comp when they're the.
Yeah, okay. I'll go ahead and put it on.
Sorry.
Yeah, nah.
It has that feeling of like an auditorium. Now it's
That's kind of the reason why I like it so much. We're playing to like 4 people on YouTube and like 0 on Rumble, but yet we got like this massive echo going on. I love it. Like, we're over here at Comiskey Park. Lady, how you doing, sir? I hope you're doing well, man. This is our last show of the year.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Loud and clear, sir.
Okay.
I am streaming from a friend's location.
Yeah. That happens sometimes.
So, wanted to get some things done. This little cart I've had for a while. I'm going to get this done. I'm going to get the Cathazar done. And then I think once I get a plan on my new location and I get that set up, and that won't take too long to set up. Once I get that set up, what I will do is I will start working on the Cyberfrog stuff, because Lady gave me that 3 years ago, and it's at that part of the rotation where, okay, I know where this is in the rotation. There's other figures I have that were bought after that. I want to get that one done now, because he gave me those 2 figs, these really badass figs for Cyberfrog, and that's got to happen. Thank you, Lady.
So we're going to be fighting cybernetic frogs and giant insects now?
Actually, no. Cyberfrog is a comic book by Ethan Van Sciver. And it was kind of the thing he went to after he did his run with Green Lantern. And it was, or it might have been, it was around the time where he was working with Green Lantern, either right before or right after.
Yeah.
And then he put out a Kickstarter of it. And it's a really good comic series. Like,
I got a couple of comics in my collection. I won a couple of things from Next Liao, and one of the things that came in the books was some. It was either 2 of the same Cyberfrog comic or 2 different ones, but I'm thinking like 2 of the same Cyberfrog comic. Apparently, he backed it like twice and ended up with like 2 of the same exact comic.
not bad.
Both of them are like hollow cover.
I'm actually thinking that that's actually going to turn into a comic collector's item, because Van Sciver, he worked on a lot of the source material that later turned into the DC universe on film. he's one of the guys that's credited as a writer for the Snyder cut of Justice League. And I don't know if you guys saw that or not. Did you guys watch 4 hours of that?
No.
I kind of lost interest with the when they turned Captain America into an old man, and even then I was already losing interest. But by the time they just did that, like, oh yeah, we're just gonna absolutely forego the entirety of the comic book series so we can have a black Captain America. I was like, okay, I've lost interest.
Well, this is
Yeah.
good. The 4 hour version of the Snyder cut for Justice League is the DC, not Marvel stuff.
Oh well, I lost interest in that long before it. The moment they had, I will say I do not like that Batman, that Superman's attitude is I am the paragon all mankind should look up to. But on the same hand, the moment they made him a deadbeat dad, is he Superman anymore?
That's to be debated. Lady going the thinking man's are out there.
Yeah.
I liked it. They had it available on YouTube for free as a movie, so you could watch like 3.5 hours. It was a good movie, I thought. It could have been a better movie, I'm not gonna lie, but as far as it's concerned, Snyder was given $25 million to fix the Justice League movie, which the theatrical version of it sucked. I wouldn't have been happy if I'd paid to see that. But when I saw the advertisements for the original theatrical cut of it, I immediately lost interest. But I got interest back once they found out they were going to do a 4 hour cut. And actually, it's not bad. It's just 4 hours. If you don't got 4 hours, you're not going to like it. If you do,
Yeah, that's one of the things I dislike about movies. It is the fact you only have like a 2.5 at the absolute most you can do for a movie. Once you go beyond that, people start losing interest. But most of the really, really good movies are 3, 4, or even 5 hour long movies.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. The first thing I packed away when I realized I was going to be moving was my Lord of the Rings extended edition set.
Yeah, they are some of the best examples of that.
The thing
I don't
here is
recommend
that
but
Lord of the Rings got better when it got longer. In fact, it was great, then got better. The problem with the Justice League was it was trash, and then it became slightly not on fire trash.
It went from dumpster fire to just dumpster.
Hey, look, you put the fire out. Still a dumpster, and it still smells like a homeless dude.
Well,
But now
here's
it's not
here's the
burning.
problem. Here's the problem, especially when moving from a book, even a comic book, to the screen is, and this is why it's all the book is generally with the few rare exceptions, the book is always better than the movie, is because the book is limited by the imagination, the movie is limited by budget.
Yeah, but when
And
Black
there has-
Widow can arm wrestles Captain America and win, that has nothing to do with budget.
Well, I mean, yeah, plot and all that is a factor, but I'm just going from the reason why it has to be like like a 2 hour is they just can't put everything. That's what I'd never classify myself as a Potterhead, but I did like the movies. I had never read the books. And then just recently, I read the books. I'm pissed I read the books because now I don't like the movies. Because I mean, the books are way, way better. You know. Well, but Flady, that's not necessarily true, because is when going from book to movie, you're paying the actors, and it's generally by screen time, or like either screen time or how many lines are spoken, depending on what the contract is. So that's why they just cut out, like with the Harry Potter, they cut out several several characters that were actually rather important, and and um and they reworked they reworked some things to to effectively keep the plot moving in the same way, so that they can cut that person out, because money. There's a budget there for the movies. There's not a budget there for the books. So, one of the big difference is Neville Longbottom had a bigger impact on the story in the books than he did in the movies. But he wasn't one of the three main characters. They didn't have the budget to make him one of the main characters, so they just chopped it up.
Actually, from an interview with the director, I can tell you for a fact that's not true. They actually, the script had a lot of Longbottom's scenes. The director didn't like Longbottom. He did not like Longbottom as a character. So he just cut him out, almost completely cut him. If it wasn't for the fact Longbottom was absolutely crucial for several things, Longbottom probably wouldn't have been in the entire Harry Potter movie series. That is how much the director did not like him.
And the movies wouldn't have been as good.
No, because he plays key parts, and that's part of it. Every single that's why when you see Neville, he's almost always a blithering idiot in the movies too. When in the books, he's not.
Right. He's unsure of himself. He lacks self-confidence.
Which is also why in the final two movies where they had a different director, Neville actually shined, like he's supposed to be in the books.
Right. And but there's the same problem with Ron Weasley. In the books, he was actually smarter and more clever. He wasn't the
unfortunately he fall. Oh, what the fuck is it? It's supposed to be like they're really famous characters, British. I love the fucking character. Sherlock Holmes and
Watson.
They're supposed to have that dynamic. Problem is they made Ron so fucking stupid compared to Harry.
And even at that, look, in all honesty, they could have, with just a small amount of tweaking, they could have written Ron and Harry out of it altogether. Just have it circled around Hermione. She did most of the. She did most of the.
Yeah, well, if you want to look at it for that one, that's because back when Harry Potter was first made, the whole feminism movement was starting, and they wanted to make Hermione the reason why the boys win, and that's kind of what happened.
Yeah.
Up to the last couple of books where they actually realized, no, Harry and Ron are actually supposed to be characters, not just plot points.
Right. Yeah. And so, but, it's like, when I first saw the movies, I wasn't coming at it from that angle, but after I read the books, I started to see it. Mm-hmm. Oh, God. Now I don't like the movies as much.
Fair.
But as a general purpose, that's the thing going from books to movies, is that movies have limitations with money. So
yeah, there are
Right.
limitations, but it's what you do with that. Like the money is like the vision of the writer director to do certain ways can be terrible, and but kind of like earlier when I was bitching about certain like I know that the most recent Midway movie, I have my problems with the choices that were made. Budget was high, but budget could have been cheap because I can watch the exact same movie from the '60s from the '60s or '70s, and it's a phenomenal movie, and it doesn't like the visual fidelity of the new ones are fantastic, but what they chose to do was utterly terrible. And the problem here is that I'm not while I do like Snyder, I'm not sold on his vision on how everything works according to Snyder. Sure, 300 was a fantastic movie, and I'm just not as sold with his choice of everything, honestly. And I guess when going into the problem with Justice League is the reason why I don't like release the Snyder cut. What are you going to release? It was a fundamentally flawed movie. It was Warner Brothers trying to jump into a game late to shove a bunch of characters into a movie and try to get Avengers level results without Marvel levels of phase one amounts of work. They do no build up, and then they throw Snyder at it, and Snyder wants to deconstruct everything and do his own weird ass thing, and everyone's supposed to, and it's supposed to be better than I'm better because it's darker and grittier and more and at this point I'm like, you tried too hard, you shot for the sky, and except for some fanboys, it was a piss poor production that did nothing right, that tried to slam home too many stories into one movie and introduced too much at once with no build-up, and you're left with a subpar product.
Yeah, and with commercial, at least what I got from the commercials, I didn't actually watch the movie. It's like, oh, you played Warhammer as a kid. Great. That doesn't belong in DC.
But the thing here is that when you watched it, it wasn't like it's a passable movie. But it was, but at that point, it's kind of going, wow, I want to watch that. Like, wow, I just got done watching Star Wars. I wonder what this knockoff movie is. The problem is that instead of the knockoff movie being Battlestar Galactica, it's where it's like, oh hey, look, it's a Mormon knockoff trying to cash in on Star Wars, which turned out to be actually good, but it's kind of cheesy. Instead, you had a gazillion dollars being made over here, and then Warner Brothers going, boy, it would be cool if we could have a bazillion dollars too. We've got things. We're more known, and then they shit the brick, and then they shit their pants, and they produce a mediocre movie, and then they go, well, it's only because Snyder lost a loved one, and he had to leave, so therefore they brought in Whedon, and Whedon shit the whole movie. So Snyder should come in, and then Snyder comes in and makes it and adds an extra hour and some minutes to it. At which point I'm going, who the fuck do you think you are, Snyder? Do you think you're Peter Jackson? Peter Jackson knocked it out of the park. He home runned it. Is Lord of the Rings perfect? No. But is it a phenomenal movie that became better? Yes. But Snyder takes a wreck, bangs out some dents, adds some more bullshit that was miserable, and then threw out a shitty superhero knockoff that was trying to go, we can be big boys too.
Yeah.
And
Good.
so, yeah, I'm sorry.
Look, I gave DC a try, but after the Dark Knight trilogy, which I loved, I lost interest because everything else just sucked after that.
Yeah, that's Nolan.
And the Dark Knight trilogy was awesome. It was great. It was gritty. I believe it held true to the Batman mythos. And had they continued that to make a Justice League movie, I think it would have been awesome. But they didn't. And after the last Marvel movie, last Marvel movie, but after they wrapped up the whole Thanos plotline, I forget which one it was. Which one was the last one of that one? I gave Marvel a try. Didn't like anything they put out. Quit watching it. And when Lucas sold out to Disney, I gave it a try. I gave them the effort. It sucked. I lost interest in Star Wars. And honestly, I can't even tell you what the last movie Nosferatu. I believe Nosferatu was the last movie I saw in the theater.
Yeah.
And my wife really wanted to see it. We went and go see it.
Yeah.
But they are not putting anything out that really says, I've got to see this.
I wouldn't actually call the Dark Knight series accurate to the lore. Respectful, yes. Accurate, not really. Like, for example, the whole joke about Ra's al Ghul being immortal, blah, 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 blah. That's actually true. He is actually that old. That's part of the reason why Batman is almost undefeatable in combat, because he knows martial arts that have no counter. Mind you, that is a little bit later compared to the beginning lore, but that is considered established lore.
The problem here is that we're looking at Batman. Batman's been around for longer than most people have been.
Oh, well, if you want to look at it for the problems of Batman punched the Flash, which he shouldn't have been able to do.
Now, but here's the thing. So which Batman lore are we going with? Batman in the 30s, Batman in the 40s, Batman in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s? Which version are we going to go with? The universe is reset so many times that I can go through the dumpster and find your heroes have done everything. They've got every power. They've done everything. If we go by the grand lore of everything, that everything's possible, Batman has a suit that can do everything. He can counter everything. Except for we've reset the universe a few times. A lot of times, actually. And this is the problem when we go into, by lore. At this point, it's all trash because, which lore are we going to go with? It's kind of like when I start talking with certain people about certain things. Like, which version are we going to go with? And suddenly people go, shoot, yeah, I understand. Silver Age, they could do some amazing things, and then it changes, and then it changes again. And I guess then again, I'm not a superhero fan because of this shit.
Which makes me generally wonder why you're a Warhammer fan.
I'm gonna take a small bathroom break because we're going to superheroes. I'll be back in a bit.
Okay. Well, I feel I need to clarify something because I didn't say lore, and if I did, I didn't mean to. What I meant to say, or what I believed I said, was mythos, which is different. Because yes, with each generation, and even with different comic books, comic book series, there's a different lore, but the general mythos around Batman, there are certain things that are held true for most, not all, but most of them, because they have a, what if Batman what if Batman wasn't Batman kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the like the general mythos. One, is like Batman's parent. He witnessed his parents' death. Two, he's a master martial artist. Three, he's a fucking genius. He could probably give Tony Stark a run for his money.
Him being a genius is debatable. Not so much that he's good at what he does, so much as the fact that even compared to Tony Stark, Bruce Wayne lacks a lot of common sense.
Well, no, okay. Yeah, I will stand admonished upon the Tony Stark comparison, because Tony Stark is a genius whenever it comes to technical and he Tony Stark builds his own shit.
Yeah.
Batman, aka Bruce Wayne, he basically hires people to build his shit.
He understands how it works, and if he needed to, he could build it himself, but he's more of the have someone else do it.
Yeah.
No, what I'm referring to is like Tony Stark can literally look at a situation and go, okay, so if I put that brick there, that block on top of that brick, and then put that on top of that, I can see that from happening. Batman just takes a look at that, says, oh, that building fucked, and walks away.
Well, no. Well, but yes, and again, but Batman is still a genius. He's not the genius in the in the technical way.
Yeah.
He's a detective. He's a plotter. He's a planner. He's what's that saying? What's that saying from Dune? He's got plans within plans within plans.
Oh yeah. Well, one of the things that I know the creator absolutely hates this, but him denying it just makes him sound incredibly stupid. Batman is supposed to be what happened if Sherlock Holmes had a psychotic break.
Well, not if he had a psychotic break. If he was on the verge of a psychotic break.
Oh no. Batman is full psychotic. You know why? He does not consider himself Bruce Wayne. He is Batman. Bruce Wayne is the persona. That right there is a full level of psychotic. It's not dangerous to the public psychotic, but he is literally living in his own version of reality.
Lady, been trying to starve out the mainstream for quite some time. I've been enjoying independence.
Yeah, my independent love has been going on pretty hard here. A24 makes pretty decent movies, I might add.
Oh my god, they do.
Still need to see David, but I'll get to it. Trust me.
Well, no, I disagree, because Batman is living in reality. He just has a new identity. He's
No,
because
he's not.
yes, huh?
Batman actually believes himself. Batman believes himself to be so morally on the high ground, he has no right to go to jail no matter what he does.
Incorrect.
He actually believes that.
No, he doesn't. Maybe in a comic, but in several of the comic books that I've seen, especially the one where he kills the Joker. I mean, the Joker threatens Superman, Wonder Woman, because Wonder Woman's pregnant. Joker threatens him. Batman just kills him outright, drives to the police station, and says, I need to be arrested, I just killed a man. And they lock him away. They locked him away because he killed the Joker. And, his whole secret identity is, his Batman Bruce Wayne identity was all revealed and everything, and he went to jail. He turned himself in.
How recent was that?
I have no idea.
If that's within the last 20 years, that's the new gay woke Batman that literally is not Batman. I'm sorry. The original Batman is a psychotic motherfucker who actually genuinely believes what he is doing is so on the side of good, he has no reason or any right to be put in jail. The original concept of Batman is a psychotic man running around beating the crap out of people who deserve to be beaten the crap out of. I've had a long conversation about this with Bear. This isn't just like me talking on my ass. No, the original Batman was actually psychotic.
Well, okay. I don't know about the original Batman. I'll go ahead and I'll concede your point because I'm not a comic book aficionado.
Here's the thing. When I say psychotic, everyone automatically thinks Joker. When I say psychotic, I mean the actual definition, more like the penguins from Madagascar. They live on their own set of terms, their own set of rules. How society lives means nothing to them, and they're going to do whatever the fuck they want. Problem is now everyone hears psychotic, they immediately think Joker. Psychotic doesn't mean you're automatically violent. Psychotic just means you believe you have your own set of rules that you live by, and no one else's matters. That's all.
But I mean, even if that was true, okay, let's assume that's true. Why would he come up with the contingency plans for the Justice League, even for himself?
Yeah, and you know what his is for himself? Batman, Superman killing him. That's actually his contingent plan for himself.
No.
Superman killing him.
No. He had them the robots. If he's got the whole AI program going through the newsfeed.
Once again, once we hit a certain era, we're just going to stop here because once we hit a certain era, you and I are going to disagree. Because after a certain point, like by the time he has the robots, I'm already done with any sort of comics that Batman has. Because at that point, you've gone past what I believe is the spirit of Batman, which is a self-righteous jackass.
I have not seen anything. No version. Like I said, I'm not an aficionado. I don't know. I just get snippets of this and that. But I haven't seen anything that would suggest that he's a self-righteous jackass.
Well, this is once again, you have certain eras, like I was saying, of superheroes. When it comes especially to Batman, there are eras where Batman goes from I am Flower Man to I am Brutal Man. And he started off as Brutal Man. Like someone tried to tell me it was his father in an alternate universe. No, the very first incarnation of Batman carried a gun and shot the Joker in the face.
Well, I know he carried gun. The first iterations, he carried the gun, and then they took away his guns.
Yeah, that's because Batman. They didn't. That's because
real world
like
explanation. They didn't want him killing off his rogues gallery because they didn't want to have to keep coming up with new ones. But
that is the most common superhero trope. Period. But part of also why they
changed
the
Punisher.
Batman is because,
now that is a psychotic. Your definition of psychotic fits the Punisher more accurately than it does Batman.
Once you hit a certain era.
Okay, like I said, you know more about this than I do. I also, got
until
snippets.
my father sold them, I had not first generation, but like older comics that showed Batman being the psychotic motherfucker he used to be. I mean, that's like this is actually where the rivalry between Batman and Superman actually stems from. Nowadays, they say, "Oh, they both love the same woman," or "Batman's just a little too dark for Superman." It actually stems from the fact that Superman used to hate Batman because Batman was the Punisher in his attitude.
Yeah, and
they for some reason decided, even though they made Batman a hero instead of a vigilante, that he and Superman still needed some fucked up rivalry.
Yeah. Well, again, like I said, I know that in the original, at the very first of it, he carried around a pair of pistols. It's like they had to make some changes, which you have to make changes no matter what, because once you tell all the stories You either kill off the character and create another one, or you have to reinvent the character in some way. And
That is honestly, whoever decided that is like the rule is stupid. Why? You will never run out of scenarios. Anyone who says, "Oh, you'll run out of scenarios," have you ever lived? Every day, you could be sitting on your ass every single day of your life, doing nothing. Yet every single day will be different. You'll never experience the same thing twice. Trying to say that you will run out of ideas or possible scenarios for any one character to go through is literally a farce. Yes, Kai?
How many interesting scenarios are you going to run into that will keep within the character concept and within the framing and feeling that will have been what you're trying to market, that will keep them interesting? How many, sure, I can have Batman punch a bunch of different gangsters, but eventually they're going to blend into the same gangster. I mean, sure you can keep churning out endless piles of stories, but eventually you're just going to run into yes, I go to work every single day, and there's an interesting different thing that happens every day, but eventually it all turns into, hey, look, there's that one, hey, remember that one idiot? Try narrowing it down a little bit. Okay, old guy. Okay, keep narrowing it down. Old guy with a southern accent. Keep narrowing it. And because, sure, I've got, every week I'll have at least 3 of those guys. Sure. But if I keep telling the same 3, I can tell you it's a different variation of the same 3 guys come through the door. I mean, that gets kind of boring. Eventually, it just turns into the same story. The different variation is, does this one smell like stink? Like stink ass? Does this one smell like armpit? Does this one smell like cigarettes? Does this one smell like weed? Or does this one smell like alcohol? Or does this one need a translator to be able to speak to us? But it's all the same idiot. Yeah.
And I hit directly on the nail on the head as to why I'm not a very big fan of comic books. 99.9% of them, all the heroes are in one location. Therefore, as much as I say you will always have a different story, like I will have to admit, you can only say I punched the gangster so many times before it's just I punched the gangster. But when I was saying you could have multiple stories, it's God, I made myself sound like an idiot now that I look back at what I said. God.
Look, here's the thing.
Me sitting on my ass all day was a terrible example.
No, but see, here's the thing. I can sum up every novel, every manga, every comic book, every TV show, every episode of every TV show, and every movie. I can sum it all up in one sentence. Somebody wants something badly, but is having trouble getting it because of, and you got to fill in that. So everything will boil down to that. Somebody wants something, but is having trouble getting it. But is having trouble getting it because of something else. Let me finish it that way. So that right there just summed up every story ever told. Now, the thing that the author has to do is come up with an interesting way of filling out that sentence. And so yes, eventually, because eventually that's why I like Batman Beyond. Batman got old, and he ended up having to pass the mantle on to someone else. And it was interesting because you would think that he would pass it on to Robin, and then Robin would become Batman, and then Robin would have another Robin, you know. But that's it was interesting. That's not what happened. Batman and Robin had a falling out, and then and then Alfred dies. Alfred's old. It was inevitable. So it's like he was on his own, and so it was an interesting way of telling the same old stories in a new way. And that's what you have to eventually do, because after, is it what, 75 years, even long before that, if you want to consider the dime novels from the Old West, from the early 1800s, of heroes, telling stories of heroes. Eventually you're going to have to either find a way of reinventing the hero, whether it be passing the mantle, or just wiping the slate clean, starting all over, and telling it in a more modern way. So yes, you do eventually have to find a way to reinvent the hero.
Right, Clayton.
Night, Flady.
Yeah, I actually not a very
Good
big
night.
fan of Batman Beyond. Not because of the whole next generation thing. It did three primary things I didn't really like. One, it was modern political satire. Yes, the main character was a male. Every single female he dealt with was stronger than him in a fucking power armor suit. Mind you, low-grade power armor, but still power armor. Every single female character he fought was stronger than him, period. And it made out Batman to be the absolute worst stepfather in the fucking world. Yes, Batman was not great at it, but that made him, even in an old man, he had absolutely no idea how to fucking deal with a child, to the point that Terry might as well have just been a bitch, his go-for bitch, and that was it. I can understand in the earlier ones him not really understanding children and then getting to it, but as an old man, still treating Terry like he's a fucking tool at best.
Look, I agree. Batman is a flawed character.
No, that goes from
no.
flawed in the beginning, fine. Now to I am an old man, and despite the fact I'm supposed to be as smart as I am, I have literally learned nothing.
Hang on a second.
I don't know. I'm of the mindset that modern mainstream comics just need to experience a rapid deselling, and I think it's good that we're seeing so many of them not sell. I think it's great, and I'm here for it, because too many of them are garbage.
Yeah. Well, getting a little bit to what I was saying about Batman, it's kind of a character assassination. Yeah, Batman's a flawed character. I get that. He'll be flawed till he's an old man. He was literally treated as if, from the Batman in the 90s, which is what he was based off of, to Batman Beyond, he literally learned nothing about what it means to be human. If anything, he became less human, and not in the character growth way. If anything, just to make him less connectable as an old man. So Terry has a reason to bitch. And that's kind of what they did with Luke Skywalker. They just kind of took a look at his character and said, we're going to make him so unlikable that the main character is just lovable. Now, mind you, unlike Terry, who was actually likable as a character, Rey was not. You just liked her after meeting Skywalker because Skywalker was such an asshole at that point.
No, I never made it that far.
As soon as I seen Skywalker and what he treated Rey like, I was like, okay. First movie, I already didn't like it. The moment I seen Skywalker, I was done. Because that was Naruto level of characters. Do you know what they did to Naruto and Boruto?
No.
Naruto spent his entire life not knowing his parents, growing up by himself, everybody teasing him. You know what he does on his son's own birthday? Sends a shadow clone, which is only even half there. And I do mean half there. It's half thinking it's still doing work while his main body is at the fucking office doing work. That they literally just the character assassination, straight up. Naruto, who above all characters should always be there for his son because he never had that, just goes, yeah, I'm not going to raise my own child. I mean, it's not even that. I mean, literally, he does no disciplining. He doesn't even really talk to his son. He just kind of lets his son... Compared to Boruto, Naruto was a fucking saint compared to what... Boruto ran a village straight into his father's likeness on the fucking wall of monuments. Not painted it, straight a fucking train and brought down half the fucking cliff on the city. And that's supposed to be, oh, he's just rebellious? What the fuck? Yeah, technically nobody got hurt because nobody was in that abandoned part of the city at that moment in time. But still, he brought down the fucking monument wall with a train on half the fucking... well, not half the city, but a good chunk of the fucking Hidden Leaf Village. And nobody does nothing, not even Naruto. What the fuck? And it's not even like that's like happened at some point. No, that's literally the entrance episode to Boruto. He hijacks a fucking rail line and just bulldozes it straight into the cliff. And then you quickly learn why, because Naruto is a deadbeat father. Not only does, I mean, it'd be bad enough if he didn't know how to raise a child. He genuinely exhibits no interest in raising his own children, except maybe his daughter. Now, I'm pretty sure everybody here grew up with the father favored the daughter and kind of treated the son like, be a man. This isn't even that. This is just his son doesn't exist and he doesn't know how to deal with his son, but he'll love up on his daughter and knows how to treat his daughter just fine.
I kind of checked out on the Naruto franchise roughly around partly through Shippuden. So the writer wasn't a very good, great person, and it drug it out really, really long to the point where I kind of went, this is not even as good as One Piece, and One Piece isn't even that great. So,
well, I will give One Piece this. The beginning of it is good if you look at it from a vacuum point, like you expect it to be a short series, like excuse me.
No. It's a great series if you're willing to give it 200 episodes. And don't worry, it gets really good around episode 700. And then it changes to a great story around episode 1,300. If you're willing to invest your entire life for the next 20 years, it's a great story.
I bought the entire up to episode 1071 for my parents. And my father has gone through it at least 6 times now.
I'm waiting for someone to hand me a non-filler guide to this series, because there's no way this actually.
No, there are filler episodes. Like there's several like mini series that my father and I both just skip. Some he'll skip, some I'll skip, but there's plenty we'll both skip. Like I think it's before Fishman Island. It's either before or after. I think it's before. There's an episode where someone steals the flag, and it's like, and they're just like, it's a point of pride. It's a fucking piece of cloth that can literally be replaced at any moment.
No, the thing here is that there's nothing that can run that long that is actually that critical. And I look at it and go, for the people who started watching it in 2002, congrats. You've earned your quarter century story. That's your Silmarillion, that's your Lord of the Rings, that's your work that's so dense that it's yours. Congratulations. Congratulations, anime Trekkies. You got your weeb manual that makes everyone go, there are weebs, like there are sci-fi fans, and then there's Trekkies. There are weebs, and there's One Piece fans. And there's a sense of pride if you're part of that community, just like there's Trekkies who are really into being anal retentive into every little minor detail, and if it's alpha or beta canon and all this other shit. I know I'm a complete nerd who hates the when things that should make sense through technical means gets counteracted by a later writer who didn't read the technical manuals and didn't read what was stated in an earlier book, movie, episode, or thing like that. And because I care about canon for Trek, because I'm one of those.
Stuff that happened in the Enterprise.
Fuck you! Most of you could go fuck yourself when it comes to Trek. Yep, no.
I'll admit I like the show Enterprise, but it had so much inconsistency.
No. Hey, are we going to talk about inconsistency for a bullshit series that I once was a huge fan of? We could talk for fucking hours. Fuck yeah. There is so much inconsistency, but I don't want to fucking talk about that because then I'm going to get to the fact that some fucking dick smoker is going to go, well, that's why they introduced the quantum torpedo, because, math started happening and nerds were starting to go, well, now that we know what the actual yield of an antimatter explosion is, we need to make up a new bullshit super technology that is super science sounding, and now it's better. Why? Because it's blue, not red.
Yeah.
Photons are red. Quantums are blue. The reds are only up to 100 megaton yield warhead, but that's too small. We need to call it the quantum because quantum makes the Borg go bad. And the Borg are stupidly powerful and are super wonderful. Sure. And they're invincible. If they even see what somebody does, they adapt magically, and then suddenly they're not all invincibles. 12-year-olds write this shit.
Yeah, that's one of the things I absolutely hated about that. It's like the fucking hologram episode proves everything about what you need to know about killing the Borg. Let's see here. We're all advanced super civilization. We know how to build lasers. Does anybody know how to backtrack like 5, maybe 15 steps at most to make something? I don't know. That's a black powder weapon, maybe, or a gun. Like a combustion. Powder.
But then you get the Voyager and the tactical armored cube, which now has armor against things. But don't worry, we'll introduce the tri-quantum phasic weaponry, and this one uses gravitons, which fires gravity in a laser beam that can go through time backwards, and that makes it super powerful. Oh no, someone's using a trigon beam or some other weird technobabble bargain garbage shit. And at that point, you're just kind of going, can we just go back to the idea that this is a phased particle beam? That would be cool. Well, but no. Now it's so fucking stupid, and now we have other weird shit. And now we can shoot laser beams that have quantum nanobots that are in it, and that will cause you to instantly biotransfer yourself over into a robot. And you're like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah, I hear more of this kind of shit about Star Trek. It's like Okay, who the fuck hired? I mean, I said this once before earlier with something, but basically, who the fuck hired the Games Workshop writers?
No idea.
Star Trek.
No, but this shit just is what the writers do, and this is why I can't take it seriously, because the shit that Trek does is the same shit. Is the same shit that comic book writers do. They just make shit up to make a story, and now nerds will sit here online and argue about this shit. This is why I can't stand comic books and comic book fans, because for a while there, I was the asshole standing behind a counter selling comic books to fucking mouth-breathing, sweaty pieces of shit who argue about, well, this version of Batman is like this, and this version of the Flash is like this, and this version of Superman can do this, but in this version, I'm just sitting here just give me your fucking money and leave. I don't care anymore. I used to like this shit. I used to like you fucking nerds. And I detest you fucking nerds now. I used to love fucking sci-fi. I detest most of them now. I detest you fucking Trekkies. I used to be one. I used to love comic books. I detest most of them now. At least when it comes to fucking anime, at least the show fucking, for 99.9% of them, the show ends. And there's a termination point around maybe season 2, season 3. And there's only like 2 shows that never fucking end. And I can't stand those because I'm not following along at this point. Well, see, in episode 700, they changed the entire magic system 180 degrees. So it's no longer about the cool fruit. Now it's about being able to channel your inner chi body powers. And I'm like going, holy fuck. I mean, at least Bleach ended, god damn it. And at least they have a theme where it's like, okay, it's Japan, it's Germany, it's this, it's Mexico. And the show ended. At least with the ninjas, it finally ended eventually. I mean, Dragon Ball got stupid, and at least it's almost ended. And I can't stand it, because I have to fucking listen to this shit. Meanwhile, I'm going, can I have my one show that has a second season? No? Okay, I guess I'm going to go watch me some more isekai trash. But at least most of that is disposable. You get 12 episodes, and it's over. I don't have to argue 45 seasons of garbage. I don't need to argue 23 different shows that all decide to go, well, in show number 4, they got the ability to spin the ship and go teleport through the universe because that's how they want to do it now. And, well, fuck. I guess I'm over here. And this one's got a musical number in it now. Fuck. This one's got space witches. Well, fuck. I'm out.
Yeah. This one you can turn your entire Gundam into a magical suit of whatever that can literally crush any other armor out in the world. Oh, and over in this series, we have one similar. We have Trans Am.
But now with Gundam though, I can at least go, G Gundam is its own goddamn thing. Build Gundam is its own thing. Z Gundam is part of the UC timeline, but at least it was its own thing. Double Zeta Gundam was its own kind of storyline, and it was the Hathaway story is its own thing. They're at least compartmentalized, and at least I know that short of Z-Duck, which is his own fucking thing is over here, most of it is if I see a Galf, it's a Galf. Yeah. If I see a Rickdom, it's a Rickdom. Or it's a variant of the Rickdom that has a modification in it. If it's an RX-78, I know that it's an RX-78-1, -2, -3, and I can tell the evolutionary subtype, and you can walk it along, and you can know Minovsky particle does this, speed does this. If it's a Musai class-like cruiser, it's a Musai. It may be a Musai Kai. It may be a Musai Yamato version. It may be a variant that has a different command module on it, but I can at least point to it and go, Musai, cruiser. Cruiser does this, armed with this. If I see a Salamis, I know what a Salamis is. The Salamis does what it always does, which is blow up. I know if I know it's a mass production. It's an RX-78 mass general GP model. It's the general production version. It's the inferior. It's the Trooper Land version. Okay, I now know what variant it is. It fits. It isn't just simply they go, and now we introduce the blue torpedo, and it's better because it's blue, and it has a new name attached to it. Now we do get to have that periodically with the evolutionary of new suits, but at least with Gundam, it's its own universe. I can say UC timeline, and people go, okay, it's the UC timeline. Got it. Is it AC timeline, or is it you? The important note is when you talk about Gundam is do they tell you what universe it's in? And boom, done. Okay, we understand. Okay, this is now this thing. Cool. And we go with it. But there isn't the simple thing of, hey, are we talking about Batman again? Oh, yeah. No. Is this the pre-Crisis universe one? Or is this the Dark Knight universe version of him? Or is this version of him? Or is it the Bruce Timm version of him? Or is it the animated version of him? Or is it this version? Or is it this version? Is it the 60s version of him, the 40s version, which everybody has their own thing, at which point, like, which version of Superman I'm talking about? See the above. Is it Wonder Woman? Fucking see the same above. There's no real good thing because they keep resetting the timeline and then doing the fucking Disney problem with Star Wars, which is simply, oh, hey, look, we killed the storyline, now we're just cherry-picking shit from the past, which is what happens every time that Marvel or DC decide to kill their universes. And then the guy who killed the universe goes, I'm done. He leaves, and then some guy comes and goes, I kind of really like this one thing from the plot line from 1974, so I'm going to go pull that thing and make a reference to it. And now slowly all the shit comes back, and now we're back to a confusing pile of trash, which now the nerds start arguing again. And I check out and go, you know what? There's a reason why I stopped caring about all the sci-fi nerd shit and kind of went and said, I'm going to go over here and talk about boats. I really like boats and history and real engineering because all I got to argue with is the weeaboos, the Baraboos, the Britaboos, and the Russiaboos. And of course the American boos, who are like, oh, we like the Tiaboos and all this shit. So therefore, all I gotta worry about is which level of fag I want to deal with. And do I want to deal with the Wehrmacht 11 faggots? Do I want to deal with the Russian faggots? Do I want to deal with the American faggots? Or the Brit faggots? Or the full steel 1,000 times can cut through tank armor Japanaboos? And y'all are faggots. I know I'm one too because I have the things that I like.
I haven't discovered what model I just like from like all that kind of stuff yet. I'm still diving. Even though I do enjoy that kind of stuff, most of the channels, including the one I've talked to you before about, is a little bit dry, so I don't watch them constantly. But I've still learned so much. Like I honestly had no idea that depending on not only the size and the shape of the shell, it will determine the angle you want to fire it from to hit the ship with. Some of them you want an almost direct angle. Some of them you want a very high downward angle.
Oh, so you're listening to the Dracanafel's plunging fire, gunnery plunging fire video. That was the one that tells you shape of shell, angle of depression, speed of the round, and the calculations necessary to make 5 inches of deck armor. Can 5 inches of deck armor actually count as actually being viable armor? And at what rate, in what range do you become invincible? Yeah, that's or at what range does the armor stop being functional, and at which point do you got to worry about your zone, the band of vulnerability, at which point you can be hurt at. And there's a whole lot of calculations. It's fun. And yes, Drac is a very dry channel, but Drac is a good surface level start into this kind of research, because he's good, but he's not perfect. I like him a lot, but I also understand that he's trying to condense a very dense topic into a simple 40-minute video.
I completely understand that too. That's why that's why I tried to, at least in the verb, the sound I was saying, I didn't want to take it like I was taking it as a problem. Just makes it kind of hard for me to watch on a regular basis. Though some of the information that really fascinated me was the fact that those angles were important even before shells were a thing. Even back when it was just cannonballs, sometimes the angle that the ball came in at was just as important as it is nowadays.
Oh yeah, very much.
Yeah. Oh, well, one of my favorite book series is The Ring of Fire.
Ooh.
And for those of you who don't know, it's a West Virginia coal mining town gets transported back to from the late 90s, early 2000s, and gets transported all the way back to Germany in the 1600s. And there's a part in there where it's a battle, and when the guy in charge of the cannon crews, he's telling us it's like grazing shots. Give me grazing shots. I'll flog the team that lands that doesn't give me grazing shots twice in a row and all this. And he's full of it. They all know he's not going. He's not going to have him flogged or anything or whatever. But he's just trying to motivate his team, and it goes in because it's something I never really thought of. I never really considered it, but it's like these movies where you see the cannons hit the ground, and the ground explodes right there at the that was a bad shot. That's not the shot you wanted. The shot you wanted hit the cannonball would hit the ground. And basically like a skipping a stone across a lake, because that cannonball that comes straight down might get a guy, maybe two, but that one cannonball that's grazing and bouncing and rolling through, it could go through a whole column of guys and get a dozen of them, take out a dozen of them. And
well, that is true, but it also kind of depends on the cannonball you're using. Like, for example, I know a lot of people don't think they're real, but they were. Cannonballs that were hollow that exploded. Very common on battlefields. So in that case, it didn't need to skip. It just needed to be close enough to do basically a grenade shot. But as for the skipping, excellent example of a movie that depicts this very well. Patriot. There is a scene where you see a cannonball bouncing across the battlefield, just takes a guy's head off and keeps going past him into the line behind him and the line behind him.
And,
that scene is actually supposed to, as a kid, because I grew up with more of the gruesome stuff. There we go. It didn't really bother me, but it's supposed to be a real shock and awe scene because it's the first time one of the main characters sees anybody die, and he watches him die by having his head taken off by a cannonball.
Yeah. Yeah. There was another battle scene. One of the main characters from the West Virginia town. He was in Vietnam, and he smuggled home an M60 with about 3 boxes of ammunition, and they depicted how the author, he tells it how they take him and just like, and the enemy infantry that's walking towards them is like it'll cut down the guys in the front line and cut down the guys in the second line even, and the guys behind him would just like step over him and even try to close ranks, and they're sitting there, it's like everybody from the future is just sitting there like, because it didn't affect the enemy soldier. That was how warfare was fought. It's just attrition, really. Just you it's like you line your guys up, they line their guys up, you shoot at each other, and whoever has the most guys at the end wins.
Well, that's actually quite true. Like an excellent example of, like, I don't know exactly when it came into play and started being a really big thing, but like that's specifically how the Romans won a lot of their battles. And actually not that they overwhelmed their opponents by sheer numbers. They took advantage of the fact that's how their opponents fought and used sheer tactics to use, in many cases, still superior numbers, but in a lot of cases, still they had less numbers. It was the fact that the fact their opponents just used sheer numbers and no tactics to take them out.
Right.
So, but there is also a little thing which is also 100% true. I got this from a Warhammer thing, but it's 100% true. 2/3 of taking away 2/3 of infinite still leaves you with infinite, which means no amount of tactics is going to save you at that point.
It's kind of true. So, anything happened this year in gaming you guys want to talk about? 2025 was kind of like a shit show year.
Well, I don't really keep up with different gaming lines. I'm pretty much a Palladium man. It's like I got a budget, so like I can't afford to like buy a little here, buy a little there of everything. So I got to like focus, and I love Palladium, so I focus on Palladium. So it kind of, like I said, I don't really know a whole lot of what goes on out there in others. Like,
I'm not much of a drama man, so
yeah.
it doesn't usually pop up on my feed too much. I mean, sometimes it does. Go ahead, Kai.
I really like this year. It was a great year. Battletech released a whole lot of new box sets. Sure, one of them was not so good, but it was. But new miniatures, new maps. My Kickstarter arrived. I got to meet new players. There's actually life in the game that I actually enjoyed. Traveler was releasing a bunch of new books for Mongoose Second Edition, so suddenly Traveler was starting to pick up some more energy and some life. I've got like several of my favorite YouTubers who aren't drama llamas were churning out great videos about lore and the universe, and they're doing massive collabs. And there's a great one coming New Year's Eve for one of my favorite franchises for BattleTech. Sure, my D&D has not been good, but I don't care because I don't really honestly care. I've gotten to play a lot more. I've gotten to enjoy a lot of gaming. For me, it's been a fantastic year. I'm not just rehashing of a rehash. I'm seeing new content, like actual legit new content being put out for classic games, and I get to enjoy them. They're not just simply, hey, look, it's my reinterpretation of a reinterpreted version of a dungeon that was written 45 years ago. Are you all happy to eat the same slop? It's not a bad rule set. It's just simply been playing, been enjoying the fact that there's new things for me to buy. The fact that I've got boxes and boxes of shit that I need to paint now. Hell yes. The fact that I'm now looking at, okay, I need to find a 3D printer, a guy who's actually in my area, who's willing to send shit my direction, and be able to actually build terrain, like build bridges, build interesting areas, because I want to play on better terrain, on new terrain. I want to be able to invest time, because if I'm going to play this game, I'm going to play, and I'm going to actually enjoy it. I've actually been enjoying a chance to like enjoy other, like, by moving away from all the drama, like by having stand out the people whose entire day is spent. Like, I've gone through my YouTube playlist, and I used to be continuously people telling me about the next current disaster that's happening to GW or to Wizards of the Coast or to this other thing. We need to talk about the drama, and I'm like, no, because that was last New Year's actually. I made a resolution I was going to stop watching the drama channels and start watching the people who loved something. Like, so yeah, I still watch, Mr. Welch's Mad Musings. Holy shit, he loves what he does. He's a fan.
I think the Mad Musings of Welch is probably one of the best parts of the entire OSR thing, because he's really not into. He's not into fucking systems. He's into a game campaign setting.
Yeah,
that's what he loves. He loves Mystara.
He drug Mystara from the grave.
Yes,
by sheer love and dedication. He's proof that you can love something and fix and save it. Hell yes.
I actually technically kind of lied. I said I don't watch drama channels. I technically watch Pancreas No Work, and he's more of the comedic drama, but it is technically drama, bitching about how the Space Marines are the only ones that get any new releases.
But the thing here is that I used to watch several channels that would be like listening to like Archcast. Listen to Arch bitch about every new lore change to 40K. And when I was sitting here this year, I had a beer with a friend of mine. Well, not a beer. I was drinking. He was drinking a beer. I was just drinking because I had to drive. I was drinking water because I had to drive. Yeah. And we were talking. And the realization is that we don't care anymore. Like, the lore changes don't bother us because we don't buy anymore. We don't read we read the books, but the books don't matter. We don't buy the miniatures. Why do we care? We're here for the universe. We're here for the setting. But honestly, the setting is so weird. We don't care anymore. When we started talking about Star Wars, we were both Star Wars nuts. You start realize the Star Wars that we like is the Star Wars that's in our heads. Up here, it's the version of Star Wars that we like is not the Star Wars of the Lucas era, because fuck Lucas, and it's not the Disney era, which is fuck Disney. We don't care about those because, well, we created our, and the more and more we realize we're coming to the Traveler solution to all of this, which is simply, it doesn't matter. There's the official thing, and then there's your universe. I don't care I don't need to watch somebody tell me about their version of a universe. I will listen to Mr. Welch talk about Mystara because he's telling me about his idea of Mystara, and I might take some of those ideas if I was to run Mystara and then make Mystara mine, because the world I'm going to run is going to not be his world.
No.
I mean, maybe close, but since I don't run in a shop, I'm not certified to be part of RPGA or whatever it's called now. I don't I'm not running a canned adventure because ultimately what I realized is that I'm telling I'm not playing this game like a game like to be a board game. I may play BattleTech like a board game, but I also realize that BattleTech, which I love to death, changes immensely from pickup, smash and grab, no consequences game, casual game, to a campaign game. The moment it becomes a campaign where there's actual money involved, where there's in-game universe cash involved, when there's time and resources and pilots and people and ammo, suddenly players change their tunes and they change their play styles really fucking fast when they suddenly realize that their gold-plated expensive super mech that costs 5 missions of payroll to repair isn't exactly that great. And then suddenly you go from mechs that are putting out 120 points of damage in a single round to it puts out 30 points of damage, and it costs about $5 to reload and repair, and the game changes. Much like how D&D, when I play D&D or Pathfinder, there's a difference between playing White Room, I make my shit up in my head, versus I played the character in person, and I'm going to make some choices based on what's happening at the table with my friends, because I guarantee you every table I'm at has a fucking goblin at the table, not the race, but the person's a chaos goblin, who, if I'm ever trying to go, I should be cautious and careful, and they're going to stare and go, hey, dumbass, do it! And sometimes that guy who's dumbass do it is me. I'm the one telling the other player, no, don't play it safe. We're here to play it fun. And then suddenly, we're doing something stupid. Or heroic, which is also stupid. And it's a blast, because I can go from being clinical, mechanical, to, well, shit, fireball. Because despite all of my talk and grandeur of being a smart motherfucker who likes to plan, there are just some moments where my brain just shuts down and just goes, you know what? Fireball. And the chaos starts. Because the point when the smart guy who's doing all the planning and talking just goes, you know what? Fuck it. And then the swords come out. And then the city burns. And then, one guy at the, one player at the end goes, should we, leave town as we're watching the city on fire and everyone's dead? And we're like, yeah, we should probably leave.
Yeah.
And that's it. But that was an organic moment, and we're happy. But the thing here is that I realized that what keeps us on a leash is the story. Because the moment that we get frustrated and angry and tired and full of frustration, we all suddenly start going, I think it's time to kill everyone. And
what I find funny about that is I'm actually the exact opposite. Bruce has actually seen this twice with me.
Uh-huh.
When the story is like I'm frustrated and things like that, I will walk away as a player and come back when I'm calm. That's kind of who I am. But when the story has directly pissed me off, everything dies.
Yeah, but the thing is,
and what I mean by this is, there was a sex cult, and we found guards out front having their way with a child. We found 2 sleeping guards. Yeah, where this comes in is Bruce had never, and I could tell in Bruce's voice, he was like, "What the fuck?" We went in, we found 2 creeping guards. Instead of mine, up to this point, let's talk, let's work with this, let's kill them in their sleep. It was like, whoa. Yeah, he had hit my breaking point right then and there. It's like, no, everybody here dies.
Hey, Bruce,
Yep.
But in the future, if I ever play your game, I'm going to play a wizard, and I want to have a low-level version of Blade Barrier, but I want it to be a 5-foot, only in a 5-foot square, and I'm going to call it Wood Chipper. And if we see anybody who does anything bad, I cast Wood Chipper, and we throw them through the Wood Chipper. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, there we go. I have now created a low-level. I'm going to call it a second, third-level spell. You go in there, and you get 5d6 of blade chopping. There you go. Beat them in slowly, feet first. That way you can make sure that they scream.
I think it's great. I really do. I love the campaign that I'm running right now because I get to do things. Well, one, I get to play the game I want to play. My players aren't like trying to say like, "Hey, we want to run a kiddie game. You know, we want to have a kiddie amusement park." No, they're like, "Okay, so we're all adults, right? All right, I guess we're all adults."
We're
So
adults.
the gloves are off. There's not a single fucking time where whenever I run a game, I'm going,
Oh God, I hope I don't get banned off YouTube.
and I don't really give a shit. Like if I get banned off YouTube or Rumble or whatever, like I'm gonna still run it somewhere, either Discord or FMux. Somewhere I'll have a fucking table for my buddies, and if people want to watch, they can watch. But I'm telling you right fucking now, like I am a big fan of playing a game and making the players feel like they're doing something that they want to be part of. Like the moment you put like kids in danger, like everybody gets their dad voice. Every mama bear at that fucking table comes right out. If you got a woman in your game, if it's Janet or if it's like Sandy, someone or else, like all of a sudden, like you have a war situation, and in war, hey, guess what? Sex is used as a weapon, and a lot of other unscrupulous countries have used that over time. Unscrupulous men in the United States have done that over time, and it sucks. But you get to see people play their character and do the things that they only like. Everybody has a moment where they're like, I want to come home and find somebody just begging me to blow them away with my new gun or something. So what would do that? Well, like if I caught somebody with my daughter, or if I got somebody like on my alien mother, like, well, easy, the double barrel fucking 12 gauge is going to answer that fucking problem, and you're going to have to schedule some fucking contractors come in and replace the fucking wall, the exterior wall where the body was punted out of the house because it looked like the fucking Death Wish 3 finale when he uses that little fucking 18-inch barrel fucking rocket launcher. I want to give players things that they want, like moments that they would never have. And that's my only goal as a GM. Like, I'm not here for fucking like, oh yeah, we're going to go to 30th level. No. When my players talk about their game, first off, I want them to have to do this shit. So they're like, I got to make sure I don't offend nobody because, like, my game is not, the game I play in is not a game for fucking squeamish pieces of shit that run to HR the moment that, oh my God, he said Martinez with the dirty Z sound. Oh, fuck you. I want to run that game. I want to run that game where when my players talk about it, they have a big fucking smile on their face and they're happy. They're happy they were part of that table. That's what I want. And I think if I can get more people to acknowledge that's the way to run a game, I think that'll be something that future generations will be happy to have. Instead of like, barista or prom night D&D bullshit, we're going to get back to like, hey, you're being a real goddamn hero. And that's what I fucking want. I'm so fucking tired of this miserable bullshit that they have nowadays as like what playing an RPG is like. And it doesn't really matter if it's WotC or Coyote and Crow. It goes up and down the fucking income spectrum. People will just, they want to be communists and they want to tell you how to fucking think and how to work and how to play these games. And I just want you to play like you actually want to play the goddamn game. I want to give you a reason why you rolled up a fucking fighter, or why you made a fucking badass wizard. Tell me why you became a fucking paladin. Show me how cool and how holy you can be. That's what I fucking want.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the kind of that's the kind of game master I want to be. Like I'm just now like getting my feet wet in the behind the screen, and so far everybody tells me well, they're enjoying my game, and it's like other than the little goblin in my head telling me that I suck at it, I have no reason to doubt them. You know, they keep coming back. They keep telling me that they enjoy the game. They enjoy playing. So but yeah, I do too, and that's exactly what I want. I want a game. I want a game that is like, okay, we're all adults. Let's be adults. You know. Um,
Yeah.
and
Well, once I know Bruce has got his establishment set up, I have some terrain stuff I talked to Bruce about that I'm going to be sending him. This was
I haven't painted your
got
War
this-
and Mine stuff yet, dude.
Yeah.
That's down the list. The next thing,
Yeah,
like you said, is the Cyber Frog.
Well, like I said, like I told you, I got that stuff before you told me no more. So,
Okay.
but
Good luck.
technically, it was part of a Kickstarter, and it came as the main batch of the Kickstarter. When what I really wanted was the extras I could add, which was all the miniatures.
Yeah.
I like terrain, but honestly,
What?
if I do that kind of stuff, it's going to be more what Bruce does right now, which is most of the table stuff. But I've, on more than one occasion, seen Bruce bust out terrain because it just looks cool. And last but not least, as much as I hate to admit it, Bruce will, for the rest of his life, be GMing more than me. As much as I like GMing, I am slightly antisocial. So it kind of, the whole joke of the introvert sitting on couch, extrovert slams open door and drags extrovert out, or introvert out. That's kind of what you have to do with me.
Dude, you got to motivate yourself on this shit. Like, seriously, you gotta figure out if you want to run games more, and in your capacity, like, you can if you want. It's up to you. You can paint more if you want. I'm kind of envious of your time level. And you can dedicate to it. I'm not gonna lie, but you're also like gonna have to start out at like the bottom on things, and
Oh yeah.
you're gonna get good if you do the fucking either way, painting a lot or running a game a lot. That's just something that these are acquired skills, and like you've already displayed that you can surpass me on my painting ability, which I'm really proud of you. I think it's great. I'm still trying to throw time at my painting ability, and I
Just
can't
add a
wait
little
to get
process
better.
to that for you. You are the reason I'm painting. I had seen painting before, and it never really interested me. I mean, I'd seen more than once on things like, oh yeah, paint your 3D prints. Yeah, I'll never do that, and clicked onto it. But then when I seen you painting, for some reason, it actually was like, that looks like fun.
Well, there's some people that I'm not great at it, but the thing is that you can paint and you can talk, and like James has really got that nailed down. He does that so well, and I love watching James's stuff. I'll pop him on whenever I can, or I'll join his show when I can. I think it's a blast, and I'd fucking if I had the ability to just turn on and jump in James's chat and panel every time he was on and just paint a miniature figure with him the whole time, I'd do it, because like he's got it right. Like, it's easier for me to paint when I'm talking. Right now I'm not painting, but at the same time I was kind of fatigued, and now I'm talking myself out of it. That's probably because of good mead. I'm just one of these guys that I like to talk when I am painting. It doesn't work for me if I'm watching a movie or listening to music, but if I've got people bouncing ideas off me for some odd reason, the gearing in my head, I can get up a couple gears and I can actually get through most of a figurine, and maybe it might take me like 1 or 2 days to get it finished, but I can do it. And I rarely will finish a miniature the same day I started.
I know that one all too well. I wish I was just a little bit faster with painting.
Oh, dude. This little girl right here, she is champ. She's taken me over a month and a half. I love this fig. Trying to figure out how to bring her in our current game with the D100 before I have to have her killed off in the Pathfinder game. I'm trying to figure out how to do that. Same character, different game system.
Yeah.
And I don't think you guys have a prayer to beat her, but I do just want her to be like a motivating factor. I think that would be great.
Yeah, I'm wanting to make a more of a online presence for myself. You know, do more videos, and I'm trying to get out there because honestly, you may or may not believe this, but I'm more of an introvert than what people think.
Surprise!
Yeah. And
Well,
that's something I don't like about myself. I'm trying to change it. I'm trying to fix it.
Why?
And,
No, appreciate who you are, dude. But yeah,
Well,
if you want to make yourself more of an online individual, you can. Max Liao is not an extrovert; he's an introvert. He puts on a suit though, or he puts on a different skin when he starts doing this.
Just to warn you, Nerdy, if you do videos, especially if you do like read-throughs, like I tried for a little while and I kind of gave up because editing, especially if you're suck at reading, editing for that kind of videos is incredibly difficult. And it's not just like, oh, well, editing's hard. I could take, because of the way I read at least, it was only once, but at one point I did take 3 hours of video and edit it down to 10 minutes. It took me 2 weeks to edit because it's, in my case, admittedly, you may or may not find this part of it a pain in the ass, but this is what editing is for me is so tedious and boring. I find myself zoning out to the point I'll start making mistakes if I try to force myself to do it for too long.
well, that's part of my that's another part of my problem is that I'm not technically savvy.
Oh well,
And-
editing programs are actually stupid simple. It's usually just click, 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 click. It's the fact that you can easily zone out because it is just click, 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 click. Like, take everything you imagine about editing and throw it out the window. And now just imagine yourself going, click here, delete. Make sure that pieces are now connected. Does that sound good after it's been deleted? Good. Click here, delete, move them together. Did they sound good together after deleted? Good. And so on. It's actually that simple. It is just a very incredibly tedious process.
And yes, I have considered that doing a live. Like
Well, there you could easily do like Max Liao does, which is just do the live video and then clip edit after that, which isn't doing what I do. That's just simply going, okay, here's this segment, cut that out, put its own video, here's this segment, do that. In which case you're doing like 5-10 minutes worth of editing, depending on what exactly you're doing.
Well, like yeah, like, but, and I know it's not terribly original, but most of any of my videos are going to be around Palladium or Palladium specifically, or maybe even like game theory and just different aspects of gaming and things like that.
Admittedly, I've considered putting a new channel out there. I'm going to practice the idea before actually starting a channel this time, instead of like I did before and then realizing just how much I did not like editing. Which is the idea in this instance is instead of having a script that I got to heavily edit, it's going to be me doing like 5-6 hours of watching a whole bunch of Warhammer videos on one lore subject, summing it all up in my opinion, and then presenting it with the picture I have now as basically as an Inquisitor, teaching in the next generation of Inquisitors what he believes to be correct in the Warhammer universe. Obviously, it's not going to be presented as that, but here's the thing. I find so many channels that are one of two things when it comes to Warhammer. Painting, which they can give you the idea of the lore, in which case it usually just revolves around what they're painting or how they want to paint it. Or they're the hardcore lore nerds that are like, I have read this book and I know what I'm talking about. There are a few that are kind of exceptions that kind of a little bit go off of memory, but it's still heavily based off of the books. I have never found anyone thus, and there probably is someone, but I personally have not found someone thus far that just does videos based off of the research you can get from the other YouTubers. Like they're librarians in some great Imperium library. With that said, though, that could still end up being just as much work depending on what I end up having to do. So I'll practice that one before I start a channel on that.
But
plus, practicing gives me a good few videos to start with. Oh, and there is even a little premise behind it, which isn't just I'm presenting quote unquote as an inquisitor. It's going to be I myself, the crafting gamer, have found a way to get these weird shows or whatever videos from another universe, and this is the Inquisitor teaching his students, and I'm just putting it online. And if I do this and it becomes popular, eventually the Inquisitor will figure out what's going on and he'll start transmitting directly to Earth. But that right there is a long-term goal because that's practically VTuber shit. I don't tend to do VTuber. Given the nature of Warhammer, it'd be better anyway. If it's like my picture now, it just flashes green instead of full color like it is. And no one would say shit about it being from the Warhammer universe. Like, oh yeah, it's flashing very Fallout like picture.
yeah,
You know how you'd imagine Fallout, like so you could see someone perfectly like how they look, but their image just flashes bright from dark green to bright green when they talk.
well, the way I picture it going is I'm going to, like, I'll do one with, this is how you create a character in Palladium. Start it simple. Create, like a vagabond. The simplest risk character they got, and then basically start out addressing a lot of the misconceptions that I've heard about the Palladium system, and say, no, you're wrong. That's not how it is. This is how it is.
I can't tell you how well that's going to work out because that's not what I did. Well, at least not in the general sense. I was more of the I went straight into what is that? The Robotech. I went straight into Robotech, which netted me easily 14 to 15 views per net Robotech video, especially anything involving Veritech. That was I reliably got 7 to 10 views per video. Veritech would net me reliably 14 to 20. But as for Palladium in general, what I've been hearing from a lot of Palladium channels, it is not doing good.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of the Palladium channels out there, oh yes, we're Palladium. And then all they do is talk about what's wrong with Palladium. Oh, Palladium sucks. I don't like this. Palladium does. Palladium does.
I don't watch any Palladium channels that says Palladium sucks, actually, and all of them.
Well, they don't come out and say Palladium sucks, but all they do is focus on, what they think is wrong with Palladium, and that's the vibe you get. It's like, okay, you have a channel, it says Palladium Games. The name of your channel is Palladium Games, and all you do is talk about what you think
watch
is
a
wrong.
lot of negative shit because that's never what's popped up in my feed. It's always been what's good about Palladium, why this particular class is better than this class.
I didn't say all of them.
Always positive for me. I've never received a negative thing about Palladium on my YouTube feed.
I said a lot of, and I am starting to get more positive things out there. and and I'm even, whenever I say positive, I'm even including the ones. So, five things, it's like five things I like and don't like about the Palladium system. I'm okay with that. I'll be
Yeah.
the first to tell you. It's like Palladium's not a perfect system. It's got some things wrong with it that needs to be dealt with.
Well, yeah, I
But
still consider that a positive video, honestly.
but yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like okay, so you're telling me that you're pointing out the good and the bad about it. Okay, I consider that a positive. But when all you do is sit there and gripe about what's wrong with, it's like what's wrong with a game, any game. I don't care what it is. You're not a fan. I don't care what you identify as. You're not a fan if all you do is shit on, whatever it is you say you're a fan of. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you have to be a fanatic and like everything about it. And no, I just got through saying the opposite of that. But I mean, like I said, if all you do is shit on something, you're not a fan of the something.
Interesting enough, that could be used for the logic of how a Warhammer handles, especially 40K. Like, I like 40K, but honestly, I do actually love 40K in a general sense. The moment you start getting into the actual stories, I'm sorry, but I like stories that have at least a modicum of hope, not ones that end with, well, there is one I really like because it does end up with a bitch getting what she deserves, but one of them, it doesn't end with hope. It ends with the main character killing his lover to the god Nurgle and then killing himself to the god Nurgle. The one where the bitch gets what she deserves, though, long story short for her, she was doing a lot of Watcher in the Dark. It's a really good story. A little bit of spoilery here, but just let me know if you don't. That I don't think either, at least you're not going to do nerdy. I know Bruce isn't. The woman spent years moving documents from one place to another so people would get their. She did it by accident, first time by accident. Then she noticed she could just keep doing it and nobody noticed. She got so good at it, she could actually time it so people would run out of supplies in the middle of a voyage. 3-year voyage in space, they'd run out of supplies. This particular detail is very important because at the end of the book, she gets managed to get off a dying planet and on a ship. She gets saved after killing an Inquisitor. The ship captain, after saying yes, we'll save you, says to his man, make sure it's quick. There's no need for her to suffer, and make sure nobody sees the bodies. The crew does not need to be punished for something that's not their. The crew doesn't need to be punished. After all, them running out of supplies halfway through the voyage was not their fault. I like how that book ended because that bitch got what she deserved.
Awesome.
Like, it once again, it does not end with hope, but it ends with, as far as I'm concerned, justice.
Yeah.
Which is good enough.
And Travis, the thing about Palladium and balance is the balance is to be done by the game master at the table. Especially with the original with the core rule book, it was set up to where everything you needed was in one book.
Yeah, I forgot.
So it had, so they threw in things, everything from the vagabond to a dragon, but a lot of those things, or some of those things were meant as to be NPC classes and things. So the game master has to say, I'm running a risk game. This is the scenario. This is the kind of scenario. Create a character meant to be in a city.
I forgot who said it, but maybe Max Dial. I don't know for a fact. Maybe this actually sounds kind of like a heathen dog thing. Anybody who looks into a Palladium book, especially something like the Rifts books, and expects balance, is automatically stupid.
No, don't happen like that. The nerdy ogre is right. Like, that gaming system is meant to be balanced. at the table by the GM.
Yeah.
It's meant to be tempered by the GM, and narratives should be kind of strict. They should be the one. They should be enforcing the
Well,
balance through the gameplay and through
well, I
the
said
things
what
you
I
can and can't do.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think I said what Heathen Dog said wrong, but it's even better from what because I just remember what Kevin said. It's balance is not meant to be what the game is about. Story is what the game is meant to be about.
Okay.
Which is kind of what Nerdy said, just in different words, but it also directly reflects the fact that if your game is nothing but balance, are you playing a game or are you playing an interactive story?
Sounds boring.
You're playing a board game at that point.
Yeah.
But for some people, they want that. They want a board game.
And it goes without saying, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's the kind of game you want, go for it. Find people who want the same thing. Don't sit there and try and force everybody else that doesn't want that to play that game simply because you want it.
That might be a big reason. I hate to say it, but that might be a big reason why there is very little appeal for why it doesn't have a major economic or cultural impact in the industry. Might just simply be the fact that it dumps you things that are of insanely different. I at least know when I'm playing certain games that if I'm going to get a party can be built. My pleasure, like if I play a game where it's like, all right, this is the book, play it, and you can play everything. But now you're putting an extra layer of, I know this is what we're supposed to be doing as GMs. We're supposed to be hand holding our players and telling them, this is what you need. But I guess that on some point of some level, I kind of detest. I don't like holding my players' hands. I don't like my players, and I don't like when I'm playing have my GM go, "You can't do that," or "That won't work," or "That won't fit." And at that point, I'm just like, "Then you tell me what to play." No, you get to pick. No, you've already shot down 3 of my picks, or the other players have already chosen some things, and I'm going to have to orient to them. It becomes, well, do I really have a choice? Do I really get a choice? And at that point, I'm like, can we just go play? Can I spend my time as a player better playing a different game? When it comes to Palladium, and I don't know fantasy because of the fact that I never played the fantasy version. I've only played Rifts, and I've only played Wormwood, and I played, I think it was like Nightbane or whatever, or Nightspawn or whatever it was called, and I really like Robotech. But Robotech had a major problem where it's got a gazillion classes. You're only playing one. You're playing a Veritech pilot. Trust me, I know I'm the idiot who goes, I want to be a Destroid driver. And everybody else is off having their adventures, and I get to go wander around in my giant walking tank. Everybody else is cool. I get to stand and wait.
Sounds like fun.
Choice. But my job is to stand still and shoot stuff, while everybody else is all doing hotshot stuff. When I played Weird Wars, Weird Wars, and we were playing which is a D20 World War II game, but hey, the Nazis actually had supernatural stuff, and it's kind of Delta Green before Delta Green was really a Delta Green. But it was everybody else was playing one thing. I chose something. I was like, well, obviously there needs to be somebody from OSI. Oops, the game wasn't focused on that. Hey,
Take it though.
what?
I'll take it though.
Oh God, yeah. Oh no, my OSI character was fantastic, but I was legitimately the odd man out. It worked for the game because you need to have at least one person who's the guy who goes, "Hey, I actually read the manual on werewolves. We need to hit it with a freight train because that's a you mean so it's a werewolf? No, it's a werewolf, but yes." And it's like
Go ahead.
hard, but it's hard for somebody who's used to playing, say, but if I'm playing Vampire the Masquerade, there's certain plans that are off limits, and they're off limits because they're not in the main book. So you're not going to if you're going to play a Camarilla game, which is the main rule book, you're not going to get a Zemitzi, you're not going to get a La Sombra, who's going to be in the game, because those are out of bounds. Those are, no, you can't play them. But somebody could try. The problem with Palladiums is they go, we're going to put giant robot super pilot who can kickbox, and do acrobatic battle flips in a giant armor that shoots laser beams in the same book with the guy who is a news reporter. And we're going to put that next to the guy whose entire job is to go, "Thank you for calling AT&T. How may I help you?" And who's next to the guy whose entirely job is to go, "Well, I see you got 3 blown ignition coils, and I could probably get it fixed in about 3 days." Who's also next to a guy whose only job is to smoke a pipe under the fire under the air vent, because that's his only job. Which one of you is going to which group is going to have the adventures and do all the fun, and which of you are the people who are just going to stand around and do, well, nothing?
Well, it depends on. I can answer that. It depends on what how good your game master is. Okay, hold on. Okay, look. Here's the thing. I'm going to run a Rifts game. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I have the scenario set up. The players, the PCs, are going to be hired to escort an archaeological dig from Laszlo, from a university in Laszlo. Okay, they're going to go out.
Yep.
All right, and they're going to basically be bodyguards for this expedition. Going there, being there, and coming back. Okay, it's going to involve doing some, doing like a standard dungeon crawl. You may have some encounters on the way there, but the main focus is going to be in a dungeon crawl. Now, given that information, if you say, "I want to play a big stompy robot," this game isn't really set up for that. Okay, so this game may not be for you. So either choose something else, and maybe in another game, so choose something like a rogue scholar, or something that can handle the dungeon crawl. Okay,
And that's exactly what Kai was saying that he had a problem with.
And now what has happened there is, sorry, my one counter to that would be, at that point, make my character for me, tell me what's needed, and at that point,
you're missing what I'm saying. Okay, That's the okay. I've laid out the scenario that I have. This is the scenario. You're hired. You're hired bodyguards for an expedition. You either need to come up with a character concept that would fit into that scenario, or not play at the table.
Right. So now, if but the thing is, we're playing in Rift, so of course everyone's going to gravitate towards, well, we're bodyguards. We're in a world where everything's MDC and everything's nuclear fucking armed weapons and, firing reflex weapons, and, you're carrying, multi warhead mini tactical nukes as your standard loadout, and you're firing weapons, hand pistols that are destroying cars. Yeah. So I would have, knowing my parties in the past, I would have a juicer, probably a dog boy. I would probably have a Samus pilot, and who's gone rogue and he's now independent. And I would probably have a glitter boy, because you can't have a Rift game without having a glitter boy around. God help us. And there's the one guy who's the wizard, who has magic powers. And we all kind of forget that he exists because he's a wizard. And we all know that if we fart in his direction, he disintegrates. Because we're playing Rifts. And without knowing ahead of time, the problem is that the moment I have a GM who starts telling me, no, it's not what we need. No, look, the scenario is this, but trust me. And at that point, it becomes, just tell me what to play. And the less I have freedom, or the more it becomes, I'm going to get punished for my choice of character. For something that I was like, hey, we're playing Rifts, make a character. So I make a character. So I'm going to play a really interesting character, something interesting, probably out of the, out of the German book, or out of Mercenaries, or something cool. And then I find out that the character you made is now utterly worthless for the adventures that we're going to be running, and there's no choice. Well, was I warned? Well, no. I just told you to make a character for Rifts. So I did, but it's wrong. Or this is the small constraint of make a character who fits into this small chunk of adventure. Well, at this point, I now know that the game we're going to play is going to be a very limited, short-run campaign that's going to be laser-focused on this one thing. And there's not going to be much room to get out into the greater universe and have fun and play, which is okay, but I'm not one who wants to play the laser-focused game. I want to play a character who fits the world, who's interesting. Like I said, the more I'm told, Rift is a game that requires everyone to be on the same page, and that should be the players choosing that page, not the GM telling you, no, this is how it's going to have to be. Well, because at that point, I can agree to, hey, the party needs X, Y, or Z. I can fit that. The players have made that. The party, I'm fitting that greater need. But the moment the GM is, since the game requires the GM to be the one who's scaling things right and telling people, no, can't, yes, please, try this. And at that point, it just becomes, just tell me what to play. I don't care at this point. But the more restrictions that come in, the more I realize, am I actually getting a choice? You get a choice. You get to roll stats. Is that the only thing I'm doing is stat generation? Well, yeah, you can make the character however you want within the limitations I just told you. Well, at that point, I'm going to go play a different game now. That's me. I will walk away from table. But once I'm in a table, I'm engaged. I'm going to play until I realize that, hey, we're on a railroad, and then I'm like, cool. Do my choices actually matter? No. Okay, cool. We're just going on an amusement park ride that gets us from A to B to C. So you can read me a paragraph, and then I have to play a game called Guess What You're Thinking, or I'm playing Mother May I. And at that point, I don't care anymore because it's no longer an engaging game. I don't want to play Candyland or Life. I want to, or Shoot the Ladders. I want to play Risk or Diplomacy or so many other games that are more free form and interesting.
Okay.
We have to have choice, and where my choices matter. It may not be mattering a whole lot, but I want to at least feel like I had a choice. But playing a pre-planned module where all I gotta do is walk into a room so I can have a paragraph written to me, then I can react, and so I have to wait for it. This is the designated reaction time. You may now talk, you may now act, and if I act wrong, well, pre-planned doom occurs, and there's no real choice to play. At that point, it's not like, wow, you've given me 5,000 options. I can eat a burger. Like, I can eat the grilled cheese sandwich.
Nice.
But no,
Why do you-
that's see.
Why
but
did you
here-
give me a menu of 5,000 options if I only get chicken nuggets?
Okay, but you're describing. I don't want to say a bad GM, but for lack of a better word, let's say a bad GM. Okay, you
It's
know
a bad
that doesn't mean that the GM can't learn and become better. But what you're describing is a bad GM. You know, it's like from the scenario I gave you, I'll give you a list of characters you can play. Combat Cyborg, full conversion. Crazy, Cyber Knight, Headhunter, partial cyborg, Juicer, Merc Soldier, Body Fixer, which is a doctor. You can play a City Rat if you want, but might not be the greatest fit for you. A Cyberdoc, again, same as a City Rat. You could play it, but it might not be the greatest fit. It's still there. Rogue Scholar, Rogue Scientist, Vagabond, which is a Jack of all trades, Wilderness Scout, you know, Elemental Fusionist. Sorry, I had to force that one out. I hate that.
Right.
I want to say you. I want to say you can't play OCC simply because I hate it. But
Right.
I'm not going to say you can't play it. I'm not going to do that because that's a bad GM.
Yeah.
Leyline Walker, Leyline Rifter, a Mystic, which is a psychic magic user, a Shifter, a Techno Wizard, a Burster, Dog Boy, Psy Stalker, Mind Melter, Coalition Grunt. You could even Coalition Military Specialist or Technical Officer. I mean, I skipped over very few. Most of them were the big stompy guys. I skipped over the Glitter Boy. I skipped over the Robot Pilot. I skipped over Dragons, the Samus Pilot, and that's it. Those few right there. Now, if you say, oh, but I really want to play a big stomp, you know what? Okay. Because it's going to be like a 3-day trip there. You're going to have some stuff going on at the campsite. You know, I can have some stuff, you know. But whenever you get into the actual dungeon crawl, you know, you're not going to be in your big stompy robot. And then on the way back. And, you know, this is, you know, and I would use this as an opening adventure. So, yeah, if you're willing to say, okay, I'll get out of my big stompy robot to go into the dungeon crawl with everybody else and kind of be a back burner player, you know, back burner character, you know, for a little bit, and the game picks up, and we play others. I'll have other things there. I will make games there. A good GM will make things there for the big stompy
Nice.
robot player to have his moment.
Yeah.
So, but so yes, you can have the big stompy guys with the not so big stompy guys.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to eventually say, okay, this is their time to shine. I'm going to step to the back, let them have their moment. Okay, hey, look, here's an excellent opportunity for me to step into the limelight. They can step back.
Tell me
Yeah.
you've only ever played with adults without telling me you've only ever played with adults. Because that right there is, I only play with adult story. Everybody else, anybody who's played with your atypical player goes, I'm glad that's your experience.
Oh, I wish that was my. I wish I hadn't killed that fish. I've played with guys that would not step back and let they had to have the limelight. Like they believe that everybody had to have their limelight in every every adventure, at every session. Everybody had to have the limelight.
Those are the bad players,
Yes.
and I understand that. The thing is that I just want to I want to be able to go in and know I'm going to have it. And I want to know that I'm not going to get punished for my choices at the point when the game is starting. So by giving me a lot of options and going saying you could make a wrong option, because you know what, I do like the idea that I've watched enough things where you do walk away from the thing that you are the most specialized in. Sometimes, the ship captain gets off the ship, or the mech pilot gets out of the mech. That's normal, and you have lives and adventures. That's why you have all those skills, and why you buy a pistol and buy armor, and you do other things. There's life to it. But the problem here is that a lot of times it's like, well, you have a giant, the problem is that it's like, I'm used to riffs being, well, my cool character is a guy who can, breathe. Because let's be honest, some of the classes are. So what's your special power? I can breathe and not die. Okay.
Yeah.
And who's the guy next to you? I'm a young dragon who can teleport through the universe and shoot laser rainbows that can conquer galaxies. Cool.
Oh, is that all you do?
Cool. Now, what are you at my table?
And it's like, so, and what are you playing? I'm playing a trans-dimensional Superman who can bend spaceships. There's because I've seen that book, the Faithful books, where you can have that. Where wow,
Fortnite.
Yeah. And then you have a guy who's like, I drive a car really good. And so what do? I put Band-Aids on people, and if they actually listen to me, I'll give them some Motrin and water. and you're like, wow, that is who you are? Yeah. So, and then who are you? I regenerate it. Like, I can chop my arms off and regenerate and then take drugs. Well, cool. And that's the problem I have when I'm playing with riffs, is that this is the party you've built. I guess I gotta make homeless Von Smelly Man as interesting as Cyber Laser Dragon and Wonder Man the Planet Smasher.
Psst, hi. It's called role playing.
I understand this, but
look,
boy, how do I make an interesting story about Smelly Von Homeless Man, who's like, I found a tooth in a quarter, be as interesting as a guy who is Well, I'm done on this world. I'm going to go fly to Jupiter. Poof. And you're like, I gotta balance this. Fuck yeah.
Exactly. See,
And
one of the things.
it's
Look,
a word-
here are some
At that point, I should
hardcore.
just run Marvel DC superhero bullshit. And now I'm back to the fucking universes I hate. Underwear Pants Man flies around and shoots laser beams while another guy goes. Well, another man is going, cool. I found me a 7-4 spark plug, which I need for my car.
Look, that's. See, when you're talking like that, you're mistaking abilities for being interesting. See, and you need to flip it because just because you can, you know, just because you're 7 feet tall and can consume your enemies with lightning balls out your ass doesn't make you interesting.
But it makes it easier to be interesting. When your options are amazing versus mundane, I can run a very interesting story about mundane people doing heroic things. But when I try to make a story, if I was to try to make a story exciting and interesting and very, very thought-provoking and interesting about homeless Von Smelly Man, who is doing a very, very good job at being finally something good about himself. And then in waltzes Laser Dragon Planet Smasher, who could fix everything that minimizes the accomplishments of a normal person. See, ultimately, abilities are part of the character. I know I'm conflating it because ultimately, yes, I can role play. I can role play a normal person who's presented with a terrible situation and has to do something heroic, which might simply be stepping onto the transom of an abandoned ship and looking for a survivor. That can be heroic. Choosing to do something beyond that's dangerous for a normal person, or something brave, or to confront a foe or a fear, and to do something that you just don't want to do. I know how to tell these stories and how to make them interesting and how to make the complications for it. But the problem becomes exponentially harder when suddenly I want to run a really gritty game that involves having to worry about finding fuel, finding ammunition. Oh, hey, look, it's Fallout, or any kind of actual mercenary game. When suddenly you have one guy who has infinite renewable resources and can fight and then repair himself with no cost, no real, but like, because the party built themselves in a certain way, and now they have no fears, no conflicts, no trail, and suddenly the party has trivialized everything, and whatever problem I would have presented to normal man is outflared. It's like, the problem we're going to have to deal with is we need to be able to get to this one location really quick. Well, Laser Dragon can teleport. And suddenly Laser Dragon can just plane shift, and now he's there. Well, okay, so that problem is no longer interesting. It could have been interesting. Communication problems could have been a problem, but now it's no longer an issue. But if I had kept everyone saying, in a grounded, low-level state. I'm going to go back to Weird Wars. If everybody was a rifle, members of a rifle platoon, you have an officer, you have heavy weapons, you have medics, everyone's on the same tier and interesting level, and there might be a resistance fighter who fell in with the group, and maybe there's a rogue enemy who decided to join in. Now I get Twilight 3000, and everyone's in this bad situation, and they're all trying to get through it. I could tailor the adventure towards that, but Rifts is probably one of the unique games of they shotgun everything at you. Now, I know how to run this and make it fun because I have run it and made it fun. Now, is it my favorite system? No. Russia exists. Russia 1 and 2 exist, and the Africa book exists. And then the South America book exists. Those books made me fucking sell everything and trash my entire collection because I fucking hated them. Because I don't like the idea that Russia has that Mother Russia is somehow the most powerful, but no one knows about it, super state that has super spiky death robots everywhere, and it looks retarded. And then Africa's dumb, and so is South America.
Oh, I agree with you on Africa.
Yeah, Africa's dumb, and South America is dumb. And each new book kept on getting dumber and dumber, and Phase World got dumb, and Phase World 2 got dumb, and this is from a guy who likes spaceships. And when your spaceship book, and when your interstellar spaceship book is a dumpster fire, that makes me want to go, I don't want to deal with this. And then realizing that I'm blowing all this money on ever increasingly bad written trash. And then I sell it to a guy for literally $1 a pound. That was exactly how much I sold my Risk books for. I pulled in the giant tote. We got a scale out. We weighed it, and then he gave me and I sold it to him for $1 a pound. It was scrap, and that is all I think Rifts and Palladium, Palladium books and stuff worth is its weight. It's weight, and they churned out so much on cheap paper that it makes me kind of wonder, was it really worth the quality of the paper it was written on? The fact that I have put so much more extra work in for so little benefit, I can see why people would grab it, look at the artwork, look at the weird writing style, look at the fact that they shotgun 400,000 different things at different power levels at you, and tell you to figure it out yourself with a main book that's written kind of like it's there, but not really. And meanwhile, I can go spend, if I have a different book, at least I know what's in the core book will be comparable to each other. So if I'm running it, so I know if I'm buying the Exalted, I'm going to get the Solar. The Solar are going to do Solar things. I now know this. Legend of the Five Rings, it gives me all the basic Fukushi. Everybody's at roughly the same level, but kind of not. And you got the basic spellcasters. There's new shit added in all the extra books, but you don't need the extra books to play. If I play Seventh Seas, the swordsman schools are roughly equal. The spellcasting is crack. But you knew if you're playing a spellcaster, you were on a whole different fucking world. Most games gave you the core book is you can throw anything from the core book together and you'd have a functional game. Palladium is the one game where you don't know what you got. You open the book and say anybody can play anything from this book and you can have anything. And at that point, you gotta step in and go, no, yes, no, yes. You might want to rethink that. Or you just have a player who's like me, goes, I just choose to play Stinky Von Homeless Man because I want to be Stinky Von Homeless Man. And I accepted that choice. But I didn't want, but because the game requires you to know what's going on ahead of time, which is not a bad thing. But I don't think it's called stupid to assume like this could have been better. It could have been.
Part
It's
of
not.
my problem is like I love Palladium. Don't get me wrong, I started with Palladium, but going back to making a character interesting, you can start off making a character. Oh, I'm the only one capable of use the city right. I'm the only one capable of doing this, this, and this. And there are plenty of ways in Palladium for the power gamer, or we'll just say the juicer, the crazy, or the glitter boy pilot to go, oh, those are really neat skills. We don't need you anymore. I now have them. And they're better.
Yeah, I'm a juicer. Or I deck myself out in a better way. I'm better than you. And you're just kind of going, cool. If you need me, I'm going to be over here. And I've had a lot of campaigns where I was stupid and I didn't quit the game. I stuck out, and there's a certain point where I would be like, if you need me, I'm going to be over here. And everybody else is doing all the cool flying around laser shit, and I'm like, what are you doing? I'm eating a sandwich. Why? Because do you need me? Not really. You're just kind of here. Yeah, I know. I'm just kind of here. Excuse me. I'm just going to be. And at that point, you start having to do this thing called role playing. And at that point, well, the game doesn't really exactly support that very well, and you got to do all the creative stuff, and all the creative stuff isn't actually in the book. But at that point, you don't need to be playing D&D the rules. If you're going to play a normal human who's doing normal things and being social and talky and creative and finding an interesting solution to things without having to actually, depend on your class abilities and special powers, do you actually need the role-playing game to play the game? No, you're just playing a normal human. You don't need it. And you didn't actually reduce the game down to, do I need to actually exist? Do I need to play? Do I need to be level? Because at that point, everything I'm doing is entirely, well, I don't need to make a skill roll. I just talk to the guy. I don't need to make a skill roll. I'm just doing a normal thing. Cool. What is my actual class for? What is my stats for? I can't actually hurt anything. I can't actually do anything. And anybody who's actually going to attack me is going to turn me into ash the first moment they look my direction. I'm either going to explode, burn, be blown, be shot in another dimension, or something horrible is going to happen to me if they even look my way. My AC is too low. My defense is too low. My hit points might as well not exist because I'm SDC. And if the guy with superpowers looks at me funny, my head explodes. So I really don't need my character. Well, you need your character so you can roll skills that everybody else has got.
Roll skills. Oh.
You're a walking skill monkey. Well, what is your actual value? To roll a D100 when somebody tells you to roll the stat thing. Stat monkey. Like, skill monkey. Yeah. Do the thing. I fixed it. You fixed it. All right. Skill monkey. Go back in the ball. Now, we're going to go off and do our adventure now. Skill monkey. Yeah. What do you need? Find a trap. Found a trap. Storm trap. Find storm trap. Oh, fantastic. Skill monkey. Yeah. Use the radio. I use the radio. Congratulations. Your value has been, you have found value. I'm going to go now talk to people and run an Excel spreadsheet to go pay for all of our bills. Is that your entire purpose? Yeah, I make sure that our gas card doesn't actually bounce.
Well,
cool.
You described one of three things right there, that whole scenario that you did.
Mm-hmm.
A, you either described a bad GM.
Mm-hmm.
B, you described a bad player.
Mm-hmm.
Or C, You described a combination of the two.
Yep.
So, the problem isn't with the game. The problem was with the people playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
Not really.
Yeah.
One of the things
No,
I was saying.
but
No,
the
let me
scenario
finish,
he just.
let me finish, please. Scenario actually still implies for this. One of the things you can do as Palladium is get skills outside of your skill set, which all of a sudden makes, even if you have a player that's playing the skill monkey and he's being ignored, well, that won't eventually matter because all the other players will get all his skills and he is now useless. Not only getting ignored because it's a bad player or a bad GM, he is now useless because the other players went, oh, I like those skills, did the roundabout ways to get them, and because of the type of characters they are now superior at it. How do I know? I had this happen to me 3 fucking parties. I was the skill monkey. I enjoy being the skill monkey. I don't mind sitting in the back while nobody well, I can't fight and everybody else does. Everybody else took my goddamn skills because they thought they were cool, and I became useless.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on there. Now, then you had 3 bad GMs. Sorry, but a skill monkey, mostly the vagabond and.
So hold on. A bad GM lets the players play the game by the rules.
Not by the rules. There's no way
No, that was
was
by the rules. By the rules, they outskilled me. They took the skills I had and made them better than mine. By the rules of the game.
Okay. You and I are going to have to sit down one day, and you're going to have to show me how that happened. Because here's the thing, with the vagabond, the vagabond and like the rogue scholar and the rogue the rogue scholar and rogue professor, whatever, they get a lot of skills, a lot of varying different skills. And a lot of those skills are in the OCC skill selections, which means that is the primo. You're not getting any more. Those skills will go up in levels, but you're not getting any more OCC skills. OCC related skills, you'll get a few, and same with other skills. But those other skills, those are like those are like, okay, you saw a YouTube tutorial. Congratulations, you now have other skill. Is never ever going to take the place of an OCC skill. That is the professional level. That is the thing you do that lets you live. That's how you earn a living. Okay? Somebody who watches a YouTube tutorial on how to wire a house is never going to be at the same level as a professional electrician who has gone to school, learned to wire a house, and has gone through the whole process of becoming a professional electrician. It's not going to happen.
I like the fact you are using trades.
Well, it's because that's what it is. That's what OCC is. It's a trade. It's an occupational character class. The OCC Wilderness Scout. You are a professional outdoorsman. You lead people from point A to point B through the wilderness. Your job is to get them from here to here alive. Body fixer is a professional doctor. The job is to keep the patient alive. Operator is a mechanic. Their job is to put the machines back together after they've been blown to smithereens. The profession is what they do. So someone who has a OCC skill of engineering is not going to be outclassed by somebody who learned how to fix a carburetor watching a YouTube video. It's not going to happen. I've known mechanics. The mechanic will get in the car, turn the car on, drive it around the block, can tell you exactly what's wrong with the car. I can't do that. It's a noise. I don't know what the noise is from. I'm not a professional. I'm not a mechanic. I don't know. That's why I bring the car to the mechanic. So, I mean, now I could learn. I could see that YouTube tutorial. I could learn how to fix it, but it's never going to be at the same quality as the professional mechanic. So, if you're sitting there telling me that your game master allowed people to get new skills to replace your OCC skills and did it by the rules, you're going to have to show me how that's done, because everything I've read in all of the Palladium games cannot be done. Your OCC skills are set.
This might sound like an arrogant question. How many books do you have?
All.
More than some, less than others. I have all the core books.
Beautiful.
I have everything up to the Richter 30 on a PDF. And that includes the book, that includes the ability to gain new skills at a OCC level. However, It is, I will admit, costly. You have to give up certain other skills that you're going to get in exchange for those skills. But the fact of the matter is, when you're dealing with a group of 8 people, they can steal all the vagabond skills very easily with that trade-off.
And that's in a book? That's in a core book?
Not a core book, but my GM allowed any book. You were going to say something, Kai?
I would love to run run a campaign where all it is a bunch of mechanics and voter pool people whose entire job is to take the pile of garbage that is the average vehicle or what the adventurers are actually bringing back, or let's be honest, just what's been fucking left for you as normal operations, and just keep it running somehow. Keep the goddamn machine running. The giant, like that Samus suit that has probably 25 actuators, like 26, 28 actuators on it, and you need to figure out how to fucking fix them all. But who the fuck's got those parts? I would love to run just a team of mechanics, a campaign focused on just stealing shit, fixing things, and then trying to locate stuff so you can steal it, barter it, or get your hands on it. Because obviously the boat you're on has 4 fucking backup generators, and it's supposed to run on those 4, but 2 of them are burnt out, 1 is malfunctioning, and the other one is trying hardest not to blow up. You need to figure out where to find more of these things at, but you can't figure out where those 4 where that is, because it hasn't been made in about 10 years, and there might be one in a warehouse somewhere that you know, but you got it here, and when it got off the boat, someone dropped it in the goddamn pond. And now you gotta fish it out, fix it, so you can throw it back on the boat, so you can turn the air conditioning on.
That reminds me. I don't remember what the fuck it's called. I've been looking for it for years. What it's called, I can't find it. There is an old computer game, like crappy ass graphics, that's like basically that you're like on some ancient ship, and you're like constantly running around grabbing parts out of the wilderness to keep the damn thing running. Yeah, that was a really fun game.
Star Trek: The Next Generation Relics.
I remember it was a Star Trek game, but
No, it was an episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Star Trek: The Next Generation Relics. That was the one where they find the Dyson sphere. They find a ship that had been crash landed on the outer side of it, and they go down to check the ship out because it's a Federation ship, and they find that the transporter has been put on a repeating buffer, just cycling through, and there's a pattern in it. So they materialize the pattern, and lo and behold, Scotty.
Sounds like fun.
It was a good episode. It was a good episode.
And it ended up with Scotty and LaForge back on that crashed ship. They were doing some work on it, and the Enterprise found the opening or the entrance, and they did their scans, and it opened up, and they said, "Hey, let's check it out." And they got pulled, they got pulled into it, and it closed behind them, and they couldn't open it up. So, so Scotty and LaForge basically had to figure out a way to get that ship up and running, open up the gate without being pulled in, and let the Enterprise out.
Yeah.
And that's what Kai made me think of when he was talking about a game just full of mechanics trying to keep their shit going.
Engineers. To go walk
I will
out
be
in a
right
motor
back.
pool. To go walk out in a motor pool and see a bunch of half broken machines that you gotta fix because it's your fucking day to fix it. And fuck it, you gotta do it. Like, why? Gotta get it done. Why? Giant monsters, gotta fix the shit. I think it'd be hilarious. Anyway, I hate to say it, we've been on the air for a long time.
Yeah, 3.5 hours now. Well,
Not bad.
I came in like an hour later, so
We've done pretty good. We've kept evolving the chat conversation topics, not really stopping. What?
No, I was just reading the idea of a handful of glitter boys being pulled in and then having a bunch of people fucking sitting around there trying to fix it. And I'm just trying to imagine it's like, because I listen to a lot of people who bitch about the idea of like, wow, you gonna drive this thing? Yeah, driving is a kind of a strong word there. Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah, as long as you don't get up to speed.
Oh, that
What?
that actually. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say that straight up reminds me. I've been inundated. I haven't really watched too many of them. I did watch the Deadpool one, but I've been inundated with a lot of. Well, what if this character ended up in Warhammer? Most of them are stupid as fuck. Why? Well, Superman, for example, he has a couple of key limitations that if they work on him, they say the same they do in Warhammer, like such as magic. He's totally fucking SOL. Just about everybody has some form of magic, but there's been talk about other things like I did watch the Samus, like Metroid Samus. I disagree with a few of it because I personally believe the Metroid Samus would just be treated like a sister of battle with a heavily modified suit. Because if you really think about what her suit's capable of to like pretty much every other suit in the universe, yeah, it's technically got mini shields, but they're capable of that, so that's not far off from reality. Like, I think the only two things that make it more advanced than their suits would be the fact it has a built-in gun, which, like, how hard is that for the Mechanicus? And two, it has an advanced targeting system. Even when you read the books, it's more advanced than that of a Sisters of Battle. But it's like, once again, they're not going to consider it much more than, oh, a piece of technology we can easily reverse engineer. Big whoop. But they made it out like Samus was going to be some sort of big technological deal. Like, no. It's like, I also hated the one they did for the Doom guy, because it's like, nobody would notice Doom guy showing up. Nobody. Why? Everyone would just think he's a Catacan soldier with special armor, and that's it. Nobody would notice Doom guy.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've done a 3-hour stream.
Yes.
Like what, 4 hours ago? 4 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago? We did a long one. Yeah.
But
Feeling kind of tired, not gonna lie.
Same.
I got the eyes done on this little chica though, and I'm happy. Ah, there we go.
And Travis, that is incorrect. It wasn't a handful of glitter boys. It was the nuclear missile that was detonated at a ley line nexus at noon on the winter solstice with a planetary alignment. That's what destroyed the world.
That's the singular event. Technically, what destroyed.
Well, yeah,
the
but
world
he
was
says
the
main
glitter boys
issue.
invading another country.
But yeah, Travis said the main issue is that a handful of glitter boys destroyed a country, which destroyed the world. The class is a core class. Who'd want to play a rogue scholar when you can destroy the world? A handful of glitter boys cannot destroy the world. They can and will be stopped. The coalition could curb stomp a handful of big difference.
I know it's technically an episode of Knights of the Dinner Table, but I think it's an example of what the bullshit could have happened, which is technically a glitter boy could destroy the planet, but he'd have to let off one of his mini nukes right on top of a faulty ley line. That's literally the scenario of the Knights of the Dinner Table, talking about those characters that are like, well, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. So he let off the nuke, destroyed the world, and he went, well, what's my experience for destroying the world?
Well, first of all, glitter boys don't carry nuclear weapons.
They can, but that falls under the category of mini nukes because there are miniature nuclear weapons, and glitter boys can carry mini nukes. So technically they can, but as a specific nuclear weapon, no. It's more like they can just carry a side type of nuclear weapon.
Come on, we're playing Rips. Nuclear weapons only blow up in a 60-foot blast radius for 46 times 10 damage. Come on. We know this.
Yeah, that is true.
Come on. We're playing a game where it's like, well, I'm going to attack this guy. I'm going to fire 4 nuclear weapons. The blast radius will be 35 feet and do 10 damage each. If I'm 40 feet from the blast radius, I take no damage from those nukes. I love this. It is the most silliest game. But don't worry, I just fired a nuclear weapon. The glitter boy fires 4 of those around from his shoulder gun.
I want this Derringer that does giga damage. That way I can smoke a glitter boy.
I have a 22 caliber Derringer. Click. It only does 1d3 mega damage. That's okay. You're a person. It fits in my pocket. God damn it. I love this. I love this game. It's so silly. But that's okay. I've got future descended American laser dolphins escorting an underwater aircraft carrier. Fuck you, I win. Everyone's malfunctioning. The U.S. Navy has an underwater super carrier with lasers and dolphins. What the fuck do you got? I've got a giant robot with a skull on it. I've got a samurai glitter boy. They're super rare and special, except in Quebec, where they're manufactured on an assembly line. I've got an underwater glitter boy. God, these are so rare. Super rare. We here in Germany, we have no humor. We don't make glitter boys, but we make things just as good as glitter boys.
I like Triax, man. Don't give them that much shit.
I love the Triax. They're
they-
the only viable good faction in the game.
They really are.
Everyone else is shit. God, the NGR is by far the only good faction in the entire game. Not counting Japan. Japan's pretty cool too. And America on an aircraft carrier is pretty cool. But that's the Japan book. So I guess we need I need an Italian book, so that way we can have the Axis powers of virtue in the Rift universe. Nah, Italy would just fuck it up anyway. So no, they can't be in this. Because Russia's evil, America's evil. England's overrun by gargoyles.
Yeah.
France is overrun by gargoyles. So yeah, the only people who don't suck is Germany and Japan. I support this entire Weeaboo fucking universe. Axis powers on the good guys take on this. This is fucking wow. When you realize that's what they fucking wrote. Brilliant. Fucking brilliant. Oh well.
So the boys are groomed they're groomed from a young age, and they're powered by rainbows.
God damn it. I don't know. I think when I look at it from that point of view, I'll take giant space aliens bombarding the Earth from Robotech now. That doesn't sound nearly as bad.
No, it doesn't. I'm gonna need to wrap up, guys. I apologize.
Yeah,
I'm just fucking tired. I'm dropping my phone here and there, and that you hear shit clattering. That's my phone going away. It's going to break. What to do?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a Motorola. It breaks.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not one of those phones that drop it on the floor, and you now have to explain to your 3 lower neighbors why there's a cell hole in their ceiling and floors.
No, I'm not getting one of those. Fuck that. But appreciate everybody being here. We got like a handful of folks in the chat just chatting it up, and we're going to be doing more stuff involving Palladium here in time. If you want to play Palladium now, get in touch with Nerdy Yogurt. He's got a Discord, and got a pretty fun little game going on. It's set in the destruction of North American continents because of zombies. So that might be your bag.
So basically, business as usual, North America. Got it.
My one last note about all of this comes down to I may be bitching about Palladium, but at its core, I like it a lot enough to. You have to like something to hate it at this level.
Thank you, everybody. And we'll be back in 2 weeks to do this again. Look forward to those times. And tomorrow, me and Janet will be talking about movies from here. So hopefully, all of you will, if you like the movie Face Off, come and join us for the chat. Should be about 2:30 when we're done there. Till then.